The Pat McAfee Show.
There will be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes, speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good day, beautiful people. It is Friday, September 25th. Another feel-good Friday is about to pop off after this beat drop from our friend Twine. There it was. Woo. We are a much wealthier office this morning because although yesterday 90% of the money was on the Jacksonville Jaguars at home, -3, hosting the Miami Dolphins last night, our entire office said it just felt like a night that Fitzmagic would run all over Minshew Mania, brother.
Hell yeah.
That thought by us was a dumb one. If you look at any of the stats going back, I guess the home team on Thursday night has won like 97% of the games on Thursday Night Football. But what you can't account for whenever you're doing your data, your analytics, your stats, is the magic factor that Ryan Fitzpatrick actually possesses. Every once in a while, that beard will run wild. Those incredible post-game outfits will steal the show, and Ryan Fitzpatrick will be the guy that everybody has always thought he'd be, which is the most magical quarterback to ever step onto a football field.
Yep. Yeah.
Every once in a while. Every once in a while. Last night was a lock. Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing exactly like we have described him. He's the man who has the brain of a Harvard man. That's a fact. In the heart of a plumber. Ryan Fitzpatrick, the Fitzmagic, would rather die on a football field than lose. That's why last year, although the Miami Dolphins organization seemed to be trying to tank, Ryan Fitzpatrick led them to the number 5 overall pick with winning games that you don't think he's supposed to win, because that's what Ryan Fitzpatrick has done his entire career. He's a stopgap quarterback that's been placed on a lot of teams that have never been built for him. Just kind of place him in there. We have a starter for 2 years. We'll pay him like, I don't know, $4 million, $5 million a year, $6 million a year. He's grossed $72 million over his entire career. He's made money. He's won games he's not supposed to win. And last night just felt like one of those games. Now, the real question is, will Gardner Minshew be the next Ryan Fitzpatrick? Darius Butler yesterday said that we should not put that on Gardner Minshew. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a great thing. And Gardner Minshew seems to be off on the same start as Ryan Fitzpatrick, currently playing for a team that it doesn't feel like they're trying to win around him. Now, granted, he said that the locker room is tighter than it's ever been, which I love. I think a locker room, whenever it comes together, is the ultimate X factor that you cannot account for with a stopwatch or with any of these stats and analytics. If somebody likes each other, if a team likes each other, they're going to play harder for each other because they're not just playing alongside each other. And I agree with that. And the way Gardner Minshew talked about the locker room and how everybody has the same mindset, I think that's good news. But they got rid of most of their good players. They just cut him. Calais Campbell wanted to play down there for the rest of his career. He said they just traded his ass out of there, say, see you later. And everybody says he's a great teammate. So you have to think, were the Jacksonville Jaguars trying to set Gardner Minshew up for success or not? I would say I don't think they were trying their best for this year, which is what Ryan Fitzpatrick's career has been. Teams haven't been necessarily setting Ryan Fitzpatrick up to have success, but he gets in there and he wins some games. I think that's what this guy's about to do for the next 10 years. Yep. They are oddly similar when it comes to being incredibly smart quarterbacks, incredibly crafty athletic quarterbacks. They can throw the ball, they can sling the ball, and everybody loves them. This is Ryan Fitzpatrick 2.0. And last night, Ryan Fitzpatrick said, I'm not handing over the baton just yet. I'm 37 years old. I'm running people over. I'm blocking people. I'm slinging the rock all over the field. In the first half, didn't even think about throwing it in the second half.
Nope.
Chan Gailey, the offense coordinator for the Dolphins, said, you see what the Falcons have done numerous fucking times when they have a big lead? Yeah, this isn't going to be ugly, but we will go ahead and just drain this clock. We're up, 21 points with 14 minutes left? We're going to run this thing, even though we're backed up on our 5. We're going to run it. We're going to run it. We're going to run it. And people are going to go, well, why wouldn't you just try to take a shot to get a first down? Chan Gailey's like, yeah, don't care. You think they're going to score 22 points in the next 11 minutes against us? No, they're not going to do that. Chan Gailey did not care if they won by 1 point or won by 14 or won by 7. As long as they got a dub last night, that's all they cared about. And for me, and for this office, who took Dolphins money line and Dolphins +3, and in a single game parlay for both of those a couple times, we made a lot of money. And I think anybody that thought that Thursday night football game was going to potentially be trash was ultimately wrong. The game was exciting. Oh, yeah. The game was electric. And I heard that there was a college football game happening on the other side where UAB, their specialists, were absolutely dominating. Well, we had some of that in this game as well. Matt Hawk, the punter for the Dolphins, punted one to perfection, a la Mike Dixon did this past weekend for the Seattle Seahawks. I thought it was a great night of football, kicking off week 3. Congrats to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Today, we have good guests now. We have Chris Long, formerly of the Eagles and of the Patriots and of the Rams, 2-time Super Bowl champ. He'll be joining us, host of the Green Light podcast. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Excited for it. Then Kyle Van Noy, fresh off a strip sack last night and a fumble recovery and the first win of the Dolphins' career for him. He'll be joining us at 12:45. Ariel Helwani is at 1:05 because I guess there are fights this weekend. Ooh. I don't know who's fighting, but I would like Ariel Helwani to tell me the stories and who we should bet on. And I can't wait to find out who is going to enter those cages this weekend and beat the fuck out of it.
Hell yeah.
Taylor Lewan, host of Bussin' with the Boys. Also, Tennessee Titans left tackle will join us in the third hour. AJ Hawk is traveling to call a college football game, so he will not be here. But all the boys are at Tone Diggs, at Boston Connor, Ty Schmidt, all the boys in the back room, and running our daily poll at Viva Lazito. What is the question today for people to answer at Viva Lazito on Twitter?
So I basically took your tweet from last night. Is Ryan Fitzpatrick a sleeper MVP pick at this point? MVP pick at this point.
MVP pick.
Yeah, it's a hard transition.
Yeah, I see that.
P to P, yeah, it's really bad.
That is difficult.
Right now, yep at 25%, nope at 65.4%, and other 9.6%.
That's the other is the people that are like, maybe he's in a coma. I like that. I respect that. I don't think I've seen a tweet that has gotten the reaction to my tweet last night, like my question. Very serious, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very serious tweet. I mean, is Ryan Fitzpatrick his sleeper MVP pick at this point? It was just a tweet I put out there. I think it was after he went 11 for 11 to start the game or something like that. I think it was potentially whenever he put a pitch on somebody and then he tried to lower his shoulder into a guy. I mean, it wasn't the best block, but he was throwing his body around. It might have been after he took a snap and saw a linebacker and eyeballed him and lowered his shoulder and said, hey, I'm 37. This is my throwing arm. But y'all motherfuckers know Tua's sitting on the sideline, so I do not care. Let's go ahead and go for it, big dog. It was like in the movie Michael. Okay, do you know the movie Michael?
Oh, great film.
John Travolta's in there. Okay, there is a scene where he goes out into a field and he stares down a bull, okay? And he's like, hey, let's battle, I believe is what he screams beforehand. That's what Ryan Fitzpatrick looked like last night when he was eyeballing linebackers. He was staring them right in their face and was like, hey, time to dance, buddy. And I loved it. It was the complete depiction of Ryan Fitzpatrick's career last night. There was moments of greatness. There was moments of just toughness. There was moments of why are you doing what you're doing right now? And then ultimately, there was an incredible post-game attire and answer from Ryan Fitzpatrick that'll leave us all saying, we love that guy. We are a big Ryan Fitzmagic show. I assume we will become a big Gardner Minshew Mania show. I would like to meet people before I become a big fan of them. We've met Ryan Fitzmagic. He lives up to everything you could possibly think of him and more in real life. Incredibly nice human, funny human. He's got like 45 kids, so I assume he's a good dad and all that stuff. But everything you can, and I can't wait to meet Minshew. But if you're Minshew and you're being told that you're potentially the next Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't think you're upset about that.
Through the roof.
I think you're like, okay, I'm going to lead teams that aren't supposed to win to wins because I'm enjoying football more than everybody else, it feels like, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get a dub. What were you rolling your eyes for over here, Down?
Well, I mean, it's...
Come on.
You read the responses to my question about the MVP
I
pick.
did, but like, it's... Listen, we all love Ryan Fitzpatrick, but I just don't know if Gardner wants to be Ryan Fitzpatrick. It feels like he's been disrespected his whole career, and he's being disrespected again. He was great last night, and all the pundits this morning are asking, was that bad for the Dolphins because he was great last night? Because it just furthers down the line of when Tua is going to come in.
Oh, you're talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick. Okay, the Gardner Minshew thing.
And he's already been.
After Darius Butler told me, like, let's not put that on him yet, I didn't even think that was anywhere near a negative thing at all. Like, in my head, when I said Gardner Minshew is potentially the next Ryan Fitzpatrick, I never thought, like, and maybe this is why I am the way I am, I didn't even think there was a negative connotation in that at all. It was like almost like it's like congratulations.
Yeah, you went to Harvard.
It was like, hey, congratulations, you're going to be the next Ryan Fitzpatrick or whatever. And then I started thinking like Gardner Minshew probably would like to go along the same path like Russell Wilson, you know, like a late round draft pick, you know, like it kind of gets a team to rally around him and win a Super Bowl and like that's so I didn't even think about that until watching him last night, and I was like, oh, Gardner Minshew, probably the reason why that is maybe a slight of him is because there's a chance still that he is like Russell Wilson or some Tom Brady maybe, even a guy who's kind of overlooked who did well, as opposed to the guy who ends up on teams that don't really care if they win, and you just kind of will your team to victory against all odds, which is kind of how it looks right now. I didn't even think about that. But good game. I enjoyed it. And by the way, Color Rush unis last night, dope. The teal from the Jaguars, incredible. The white and the baby blue, the cream, that whole thing. I mean, it looked very good on television. And Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, I'm not sure there's many motherfuckers that can do anything close to what they do. Now, granted, I like Kirk and I like Chris. I think they're amazing. But the way Joe and Troy call a game is vastly different than the way they call a game. And I enjoy watching games with them. And I was thinking, they're doing Thursday and they're doing Sunday as well? Oh, so they're away from their families for 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay, so they really have to like each other. That's why Joe, every time he introduces Troy, he's like a Hall of Fame quarterback. This guy right here.
Super Bowl champion.
After like 19 years, they still like each other. That's because they're together a lot. Like they're gonna have to be, but they are very good at what they do.
I had a question about that, and you've done both. Do you think it's harder, like calling a college game, like when Herb Street and Fowler do the NFL game? Do you think that's harder for them because the speed of the game is faster?
So for me. And I learned this, Adam, I don't know if it was Adam Amin or if it was the first crew I did with, but somebody was like, hey, think about the career of a sportscaster or a game caller or a broadcaster or whatever, color commentator, play-by-play. Whenever you're just starting out, that is the hardest it's ever going to be because you're calling games of zero importance and the players you've never heard of, the coaches you've never heard of. So you have to digest all this information. Then you have to call a game that probably is going to stink, and you have to act as if you're enthused. And then you have to dump all that information before the next one where you have to learn a whole new roster of humans that you have no idea. And then as you go up, like the bigger the game gets, the more relevant the storylines are,
Right.
the teams are, the characters are probably a lot more. So it's like as you go up, from my understanding, what I've been told, and if you think about it in that fashion, like for instance, if I was dropped into a primetime NFL game, I think that would be much easier for me to call than it was to call an American Conference game last time on Thursday with remote broadcast where I couldn't even watch a replay or see anything from the little televisions that are in the thing because it was a 6-second delay in that thing. Like I think that was potentially the hardest thing that could have been done for me. But I didn't even think about the college game to the NFL game because it's a completely different game. Everybody's fast, everybody's all-star. But I think with Kirk and Fowler, they've been around a lot of those players. So you heard him and Kirk mention like, oh, the Kentucky standout
Right.
and do this. So it's like a different angle. But I think the hardest games are those ones at the
That no one's watching,
at the
kinda.
bottom. Like the
Yeah.
one AJ's doing this weekend. He doesn't even know where we can watch it at.
Yeah.
Right? So who knows if anybody's going to watch that game. And nobody has a clue who's on any of those teams other than Frank Gore's kid. But he has to learn the quarterback, how the quarterback plays, where the quarterback's from, the offensive line, if they're good, if they're not good, what's a weakness, the defensive side there of a team that you've never fucking heard of. And then when he goes next week, he has to dump all that information out and get a new set. So I think it's one of those things where I think the higher you get and the better you get, it's like the easier it gets too. So it's like that's a wild profession. You're on the road a lot too. I think we learned that last year.
Yeah.
And now Troy and Joe, Thursday to Sunday.
Yeah.
And I would assume Wednesday, right? Because they got to get in the day before
Yeah,
to probably
probably.
COVID quarantine test.
Oh, yeah.
So they're probably Wednesday to Sunday night at least, and then Monday, Tuesday home. Congrats.
Luckily for them.
Hey, but you get to call football.
Yeah, and next week they get to call an absolute barn burner, the Jets Broncos on Thursday night.
See, there's another game that on next Thursday I will have an entire promo for leading off the show on why it is must watch. Now the Colts this week, or the Jets this weekend, are plus 11.5 against the Colts or something like that, and I'm gonna say it. I will say that team stinks as quick as the next guy, but there's no way in hell I'm betting on that game this weekend. Because Phillip Rivers, we don't know what Phillip Rivers is yet. We don't know what this Colts team is yet. I think they'll beat the Jets. But 11.5 is a lot of fucking points.
Touchdown?
I mean, because at the end, who knows what Sam Darnold will do? There's highlights showing of him rolling to his left, making a Patrick Mahomes sidearm throw, 35 yards. If you're in trash time and you're up 17, and all of a sudden they score a touchdown there at the end of the game that could potentially happen, it's 10. All of a sudden, I'm the bad guy. All of a sudden on the internet, I'm the bad guy for saying that. So I'm saying that is a scary pick, but I will let you know that in the next hour or two, I have a can't lose, super lock, super boost of the weekend that FanDuel is putting up. Odds are better than anywhere else, and even the point spread is better than anywhere else. And I will debut that here in the next hour or 2 hours, but I'm very pumped for it. We made people money last night. I've been on a heater. My super boost the last 2 weeks kind of been bamboozled. Joe Dirt picked off Phillip Rivers in the fourth quarter of the Jacksonville Jaguars. By the way, he is an aggressive player. Last night he made some plays, and then after the play, made some more plays.
Tackled him again.
And the refs didn't call it. I was like, I kind of like what they're doing. And then the refs got flag happy immediately after Mike Pereira was like, calls are down 6 flags a game. It's like, oh, that's why football's been a little bit more enjoyable at this point. Last night the refs were like, oh, don't you worry. We will make up for all of those. We will throw a flag at everything this particular week. In those calls that you want to review, can't review them anymore. We don't care. That ref crew last night got a bit flag happy. They need to relax.
Time.
But Mike Pereira's compliment to the refs before the game started was a good one. It's like, hey, let the boys play out there. Let the boys play. Unless it's egregious, let's take it easy. Holding's going to happen every single play. Let's not be the superhero ref that wants to get on TV because we made a bunch of calls. If it's egregious, let's call it. Pushing it back, all that stuff. In special teams, like, yeah, it could happen. You could call it potentially let's not ruin every single special teams play because we would like the chance to tap our little side, turn on a microphone, make a call, and walk away and understand that these boys need to know that we can control this game if we'd like to. I like what the NFL refs have been doing. And Walt Anderson wasn't there week one. That potentially set the tone with another head ref that was like, hey, this is what we're going with. Walt comes back. They break it down to Walt like, hey, we're getting a lot of compliments on the way it went this week. Let's go ahead and maybe do it that way. And Walt's like, you got it. Fuck, get me out of the fire. That'd be great.
To your point, and you've in the offseason, I believe you said you wanted Holding to go from 10 yards to 5 yards because it's such a drive killer. There were only 8 teams in week 1 who were called for holding.
I think it was like 170 calls. No, that seems like too much. Down to like 55. He said a stat last night, Mike Pereira, that I wish I would have maybe it was 79 and went down to 55. I thought I heard him say 100 and something.
Yeah, they called it a lot. It could have been 100 something for sure.
He did some stat that was like thus far to where we are compared to what it was last year. Because last year was just, it
was miserable.
And I would like to let everybody know that we were on the front lines of that. I understand General Bob Carpenter was on the front lines for the Big Ten coming back to play. And he made some calls over to the Sanchez, Mark Sanchez and Matt Leinart and Herm Edwards. And the Pac-12 is now coming back to play. Congratulations to them reversing decision because they've learned new things and everybody else has been doing it. If they don't do it, they potentially lose their power conference rating and a lot of money in, prevalence in, and you get it. So congrats to the Pac-12 doing that. But we were on the front lines of the officiating of the NFL last year. And I took a lot of heat from it by a lot of people about how the NFL would probably never ever, do business with us because of what I was doing to Walt Anderson. I just wanted some accountability to those who are holding other people accountable for doing things right. I'd like them to be held accountable a little bit. And by the way, I don't want to say we're the ones who changed it. I think the NFL realized, hey, less refs, the better. Less calls, the better. Our game can be a much more flowing thing. And here we are, 2020. I think the product has been very, very good thus far. And whenever you get rid of refs over flagging games, I think it really does help the whole product.
While that is true, I don't think you can discount that we didn't spur the reason for change because you were very vocal about it.
A lot of people watch those rants.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. When do you think they're ultimately going to get rid of the tossing? Like Cam Robinson got tossed last night in the scrum, basically because that ref was crawling all over everybody, and then he got punked big time and probably embarrassed. So
how about it? What was he? He was planking on his throat.
Yeah,
at one point. And then he has his hand on the middle of his chest.
Two of them.
And that guy's laying outside of the. He wasn't even in the scrum.
No.
And by the way, back in the day, a guy like him would get up and pull Dolphins players off of the scrum. That's what they would do. Then that became a massive no, can't do it. If you're not in the scrum, if you get in, it's personal foul, 15-yarder. They made the whole rules. That guy's just laying there, by the way. Could have rolled over and started grabbing at people.
Oh, yeah.
Chose not to. Instead, the ref planks on him with one arm. Then he starts he almost started doing the what was his name in Waterboy, the big show?
Captain Insano.
Captain Insano eye gouged on the guy. Basically just going through the mask on the O-lineman. And then the O-lineman's like, what are we doing here? He's like, and you see him, his eyes get all big and he goes into his, and he throws the flag up in the air. It's like, yo, bro, come on, dude. Relax a little bit. You're all in this thing together. Hey, the better you guys do, the better the game is, the more money there is.
Yeah.
We're all in this thing together. Hey, cycle of life. Let's go ahead and do this thing.
Help the Dolphins, bet.
I don't know if the two are correlated or not, but
I will not say that when I saw that happen, I went, that's a real shame.
That didn't stink.
But it is a bummer for that guy. What were you going to say, Dave?
I don't know if the two are correlated or not, but through 2 weeks, it was the highest scoring the NFL has ever been. So I don't know if the lack of flags also leads to more points, which is also beneficial for the fans.
Well, you get people in a rhythm.
Quicker.
You get in a rhythm. It's like, hey, we need a rhythm. Stinks for defense.
Oh, yeah.
Stinks for defense. Hey, listen, a lot of points means one side of the ball is not doing great, but we'll talk to a man who was great on the defensive side of the ball, 2-time Super Bowl champ. He was a Ram, then he got sent out of town, then he won, then he got sent out of town, then he won again. Chris Long, host of the Greenlight Pod, will join us on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Feel Good Friday, September 25th. By the way, 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. We're taking a lot of calls. We can't wait to chat with you. This is Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Radio, Channel 82. Mr. Lombardi, I heard that earlier in the show you said you're leaning Miami. That makes me feel very, very good because our entire office is leaning Miami, and I thought that was a scary situation.
Yeah, no, I like Miami tonight. I think Miami's played two good teams. Buffalo and New England are good teams. And they played Buffalo down to the wire. I think they got tired at the end of the game. I think the weather hurt them, especially on defense, as much as anything. And then the New England game, they turned the ball over in that game. I have faith in Brian Flores. I think this is a tough team. They'll keep playing. I think Fitzpatrick, when he plays against a team that he knows the coverage, I think he'll be pretty good.
Before we get into the actual on-ice stuff, some quick little breaking news off ice. Big news, actually. Come on, guys, quick. Let's give a round of applause to Goldberg. He's back. Goldberg's back. He's off the meth. Sean Weiss 230 days sober. Remember that viral mugshot that went all over the internet earlier this year? He's got new teeth. He's healthy. He's gained some weight back. And 230 days sober, that's a big deal. Good to have Goldberg back.
That's unbelievable. Let's go, Goldberg. I am pumped to see him because, man, he did not look good there for a minute. He was starting to wither away to nothing. He had a heck of a tan, though. I mean, an unbelievable tan. But, man, I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he gained some weight back. I'm glad he's got new teeth. Maybe we get a what are we on, D4, D5? Is that where we're up next?
They got a new series coming to Disney Plus, so maybe we get a cameo from him because they obviously did not cast him because of said meth. And I wrote him off. I thought he was minutes away from death. He looked like a corpse, but he's back.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
One fight at a time, fellas.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's right.
I'm happy we found that.
It's a great A bump.
Good bump.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. Brad Pitt just said it's got to be real.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if that was real Brad Pitt or fake Brad Pitt from that movie because I've never seen said movie, which is a shame. I'll watch it this weekend.
No, you gotta watch it.
Oh, this weekend I'll watch it.
You have to.
Hey, this weekend?
No. Seriously, though. It's my favorite movie. You have
About
to.
college football, it's going to take some time. I'll watch Then I'm going to watch that, and then Sunday I'll watch the NFL, and then I'll watch those other movies that I'm supposed to watch.
Have to. Don't forget about the one with Matt Damon.
Oh, you're talking about Mr. Will Hunting.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, it's Nick's favorite.
By the way, I thought his name was Hunting, and he was just doing goodwill for a very, very, very long time until 2 days ago, I believe. So a little bit of a wild time to be alive, obviously. I do believe we are joined currently by a man who hosts an incredible podcast, the Green Light Pod. He was also very, very good at the football. Two-time Super Bowl champion, legendary human being, once a Walter Payton Man of the Year, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Long.
Dude, anybody that's having a bad week should just come on your show, huh? That intro is just fucking spectacular.
I want to let you know, I kind of mailed it in, to be honest, because I didn't want to take up too much more of your time. I normally could go above and beyond. That'll have to happen next time. Thank you for joining us, brother. How is life post-football? It seems like you're absolutely slaughtering it.
Dude, I'm not slaughtering it like you, but I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it. You know, you've got quite the crew there. You missed the camaraderie in the locker room, but what you got going here is way bigger than a kicking room. Like, you had two close friends in a football locker room where you guys just played ping pong all day and then went out for special teams. You guys are basically having even more fun than you had playing. So I'm not having as much fun as you are.
By the way, way more. I mean, it is way, and we're still playing the ping pong. It's just a larger group of humans, and it is the same type of thing. But the Green Light Pod, I've listened to a few full episodes, but I catch every single clip that you put out, and I thank them for it. I thank you for it. I think a lot of ex-players can go two different directions. You can either completely forget how hard it was to be in the NFL and then go become a pundit and just bury NFL players, or you can try to explain things from a player's perspective where humans will understand it. I'm thankful that you took that path as opposed to just burying people all the time.
Well, you went this route and you do some TV stuff. You know how hard TV can be. I mean, you have a great personality and you're charismatic, so that sells itself. But for a lot of guys, they have to contrive this persona. And for me, I just never wanted to do that. I'm not a big one-liner guy. I'm not a big short kind of soundbite guy. I like nuance. And I also try to imagine that, and you were a player, you know this deal. I try to imagine the player I'm talking about's in the room with me. Yeah. Would I say that to him or about him if he were standing in the room with me? Most times I would, because I generally don't give a fuck. But but I also want to be fair. I want to be fair to that player. I've been that player, and there's some things I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the meeting room. I can't completely just burn a guy down because I don't know whose gap it was or who ran the wrong route. And this stuff comes up every Sunday.
Do you think that there are some teams that are being unfair, or players that are being unfairly criticized? We're only 2 weeks into this thing, going into week 3. For instance, I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, Tom Brady was dead. Okay, Buccaneers dead. This past week, it was Drew Brees. Gardner Minshew, they're already talking about him being jumping the shark because of Ryan Fitzpatrick game last night. At what point do you think we can accurately judge the way a team's going to be or a player's going to be whenever it gets in through a season?
Well, I think there's no better time than right now to overreact to everything.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
Well, let's not talk about the Eagles then. I think it's tough. You got to go into the season with the context of knowing what the deal is with each player and each team. It's like the Bucs, for instance. If you ride this wave with them, week 1 they lose to a Super Bowl ready team with a bunch of continuity. We knew that the Bucs would have to kind of work with a whole new chemistry, so to speak, and you see that Bruce was kind of getting after Tom in the media and that sort of thing, and they're going to have to keep on evolving offensively as the year goes on. People overreacted to that one, but then they're back on track because of the Carolina win. But the Carolina win, you just beat the Panthers, so I don't think we're going to see a finished product in Tampa, till week 8. And some of these teams have the leeway, and if you're the Bucs, for instance, you're watching Monday night and thinking, and if you're Atlanta for that matter, who Dan Quinn's fired at this point, let everybody tell it, and he may be. But if you're in the NFC South, that wave of emotion from week 1 where the Saints are back in the Super Bowl to week 2 where Drew's arm is now a noodle is huge. You just got to ride that wave as a team.
Okay, so let's talk about your career. You were with the Rams, obviously, whenever they weren't having as much success as they have had in recent history. And
no, they were not.
No. By the way, I felt bad for you. A lot of us felt bad for you watching you over there. Yeah, because I knew you were giving your best effort out there.
Giving my all, and that's all they want in the Midwest. You know that. As long as you give your all, they love you, and I do appreciate St. Louis.
And you were, by the way, and St. Louis was awesome. But the team there stunk for a bit. Then they go to LA, they get good. But by that time, you're already gone. You go to the Patriots. What was the biggest life lesson or football lesson you learned from the Bill Belichick Patriot way of things? Now, granted, your dad, you're in a legacy family of great football, but whenever you saw how the Rams operated at that time, I'm not saying now, but at that time, versus how you saw the Patriots operate, what was your biggest, I did not expect this to be that different?
Well, I think the biggest thing I noticed in New England was how great the teammates are. It is a great locker room. And you know some of these guys, Pat, but Devin McCourty, Dante Hightower, Rob Ninkovich, who I'm still real tight with. I still talk to all these guys, Matt Slater. That was one of the best locker rooms I'd ever been in. And guys had plenty of fun in the locker room. But when you take the field, it was all business. And what I loved about Bill was he could walk around to any position group and coach it better than the position coach, maybe save for Scar, who they're missing right now offensively on the O-line. Another thing that I love about Bill is he got everybody in the big room on Monday. And you know this, most coaches break things up, position groups, offense, defense on Monday. There's nothing that makes you pucker that asshole more than Bill Belichick standing up there in front of the whole team and the whole staff and criticizing you with the pointer on Monday morning. You don't break down into different position groups to do that. you do it in the big room. And I think that's big because it raises the accountability factor. Tom could get it. Jules could get it. Dante could get it. Like anybody could get it. And then when I went to Philly, I kind of became that. I got a little bit of that old man yelling at the cloud, in me coming out of New England. It like rubbed off on me a little bit. And sometimes I'd be like, guys, are we having too much fucking fun right now? like, do you realize we play this weekend? I'd catch myself and be like, damn, 1 year in New England. And I really picked that up.
With the Philadelphia Eagles team meeting, interesting you say that. I think it was the day before the NFC Championship game. It was Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares, was playing in the team meeting room. And when it hit, oh, you thought I was finished? The whole place was going crazy. I think even like old white coaches were like standing going crazy.
Like, oh, like this.
Yeah, and I literally tweeted out as soon as that video hit the internet, and I was like, Eagles tomorrow by 1,000. Like, when a team has that type of energy and that type of like freedom, it almost felt like that Eagles team had freedom. Like everybody expected the underdog thing that they had. Everybody was kind of counting you guys out every single week. That had to be the most fun you had because everybody thought you guys were going to suck every week, and it was just playoff is like, okay, bonus money, bonus games, plus everybody thinks we're going to lose. That had to be an incredibly fun run.
It was fun, man. I've had fun in different ways every place I've been. I definitely want to shout out that D-line I was on in St. Louis. We didn't win a lot, but that was the best unit I've ever been on, and we had more fun than any time I've ever played football. We didn't win a lot, but as a team in Philly, we were playing with house money, man. Like we start the year and we're picked to be a bottom, 5-7 team. And then as the year goes on, and anybody that's been on an NFL team that kind of wasn't expected to be good and then, assume that role, you learn about yourself at different junctures in the season. And you kind of convince each other, like, damn, we are pretty good, huh? And I can remember all those moments, like whether they were blowing teams out middle of the year or, almost beating Kansas City in the opener. We had no idea how good we were, but we took them to the final whistle at Arrowhead, to going on the road in LA in a big game for home field advantage and outdueling the Rams and losing Carson Wentz to thinking, okay, maybe it's over. Then to going and winning those games with Nick and seeing Nick mature. And the thing people forget about Nick is Nick wasn't spectacular off the bat. So, there was the Atlanta playoff game, which was like a 15-10 game in the wind. There was the Oakland game at home where we scored like 15 points as well. And then we just picked it up and we rolled with it. That NFC Championship game you talked about, when they played Dreams and Nightmares in pregame, I kind of famously said this in Philly circles, like anybody could have gotten it that night. I don't think there was a team out there that we wouldn't have whooped. And it happened to be the Vikings.
It was awesome because normally you'll have like a couple different position groups vibing or whatever, like there's a couple different things. When I saw that team meeting, and I think I saw an old fat white man bobbing his head and jumping. I was like, oh my.
That was me.
Yeah. Yelling at a cloud, turn this down.
Turn this shit down. I was in New England.
Yeah, what do you got?
Hey, Chris, you were obviously a superstar when you played, and your brother Kyle was also a star, but he played on the offensive line. So my question for you is, both of you in your prime, 3rd and 8, you against your brother. Are you going to get the quarterback, or is he stopping you?
Well, I like my chances if he's at tackle. I don't like it so much if he's at guard and I got to reduce down and rush him. It was funny. We played a couple times. The only times we really touched each other was one time he fell on top of me and he laid there and he told me he loved me, which was the weirdest thing. And then the other time was he was beating the shit out of one of my best friends in a fight on the field, and he really should have got ejected. He had William Hayes on the ground like a rag doll, and I go to pull him out of there, and I run off the sideline. Probably I should have been ejected by the letter of the law. And I pulled him, but he's such a mammoth human being that the jersey ripped. He didn't move. The jersey just literally ripped off him. And then the other one was, we were doing joint practice in New England, which was bizarre with the Bears. I come down inside and I cross his face on a stunt and I beat his young, inexperienced ass. And he spins around because in his little brother brain, he's like, I can't let my brother beat me. I don't care how many Pro Bowls I have. He whips his giant arm around and basically pickaxes me in the ribs and I break a rib. He broke my ribs in practice. He broke a rib in practice. Of course, Bill didn't care. I mean, I never got any time off for that. So that was me and my brother playing each other.
Did you get a Mark Hayton shot in that thing ever?
No, but it was funny. We talking about the Tyrod thing?
Yeah.
What did you think about that, Pat? Did you think it was? My attitude was kind of like, doctors do way worse than this, NFL fans. Like, if you want to talk about fucking over a player, it ain't a shot. It's, Tyrod wanted that pain to go away just as much as the doctor did. They know what they're trying to do in that moment. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I mean, like, shit happens. I mean, it sucks. I'm glad Tyrod's okay. But I've been shot up a bunch, probably 30 times in my career, and I always knew that they could miss.
So my first reaction was, because I'd never gotten a shot in my ribs, right? I've gotten Toradol shots, every single thing, and then my knees got surgery, so I've gotten all that. But I never did a rib shot. The way I read it, I was like, oh, damn, this seems bad. Yeah. Then I reach out to a couple of guys who've gotten the same exact thing, and they're like, hey, that is a possibility every single time. A very, very low possibility. Very, very low. You have to really fuck it up. But that is a possibility every single time. And that was kind of like, okay. And then I started thinking back to the amount of shots that are given out on a weekly basis. And I was like, I think outside the NFL, this is going to hit a lot harder than anybody that's actually been in the NFL. And I think you just reiterated that exact point.
Yeah. And I think, it's funny. People were like, and it's illuminating, what Anthony Lynn was talking about early in the week, when people were like, how is this Tyrod's job? So he's so adamant about it. Well, he's not going to take a guy's job when he's in the hospital because of his own doctor's malpractice. Yeah. That would be a bad look. Now, the funny thing is going to be, it just so happens, and I thought they were saving Justin for week 6, because you look at their schedule, I thought maybe they had that in mind. It softens up. They're playing Carolina this weekend, and that's about the best matchup you could have for a young quarterback. It's going to get interesting if Anthony has to consider going back on that. But another thing is, you talk about a guy should never lose his job to doctor malpractice. Guys lose their jobs to doctor malpractice 50 times a year. I mean, doctors lie, doctors bullshit you on a rehab plan. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Have you experienced that? I personally, with the doctors that I have encountered, I've heard these stories, though, that you're talking about from different places and different stories from like OGs that have been around. Has that personally happened to you, or are you just same thing as me, like you've heard people that it has actually happened to?
Well, listen, I'm lucky. You talk about my pops, he's paranoid. He had 13 operations. He played in the 80s. So he always drilled into my head, stick up for yourself, because nobody cares about you but you when it comes to your body. And so I was always protective. I always got the second opinions. I had great doctors and trainers, but even they missed stuff. I mean, listen, I had a high ankle sprain one time and shot it up the whole year. I'd never had an ankle sprain really in my life. I'm not much of a hooper. I thought it was a low one, so I didn't want to complain about it, but I couldn't walk for 3 weeks. And eventually the docs were like, oh, shit, we misdiagnosed that. That's a relatively severe high ankle sprain, so we're sorry. And then there was another one where that kind of pisses me off now.
Sure.
I got IR'd 2 years in a row in St. Louis. I was talking about this earlier in the week. The first year I had the Von Miller injury, but I hadn't heard of anybody that had the Von Miller injury. They got me out there, and you know how this is. It's like, well, what can you do? Can you play? And that's an NFL coach speak. That's a doctor speak. And I rushed back in like 9 weeks, and I was so dog shit. I was going to get cut the next year no matter what after the tape I put out. And I did that because I thought I was being soft. They play that game with you where you don't want to let your teammates down, this, that, and the third. I read the Von Miller thing last week. He should be out at least 3 months. I'm saying to myself, man, I wish this was around when I played. Every player deals with something like that. And that's just part of being in the NFL.
Hey, I'm laughing at it, but it is so absurd to think about, because that is real. Yeah. Because guys, and I've given NFL doctors a little bit of credit, because in the real world, when people go to the doctor, they're telling the doctor exactly what's wrong with them. Okay, yes. I have this. So when the doctor has to Google whatever the diagnosis is, it'll hit a lot higher. In the NFL, guys do not want to miss anything. Okay, because they know if you miss, there's a chance you're going to get Wally pipped. There's a chance you're going to lose your job forever. You might not make as much money. You know how long your time is. So it's an interesting fine balance. And the shit that you guys, and I say you guys because I do believe from a physical standpoint and a mental standpoint that kicking and punting is a much different sport than the rest of
Well, Pat, I never made a tackle like that tackle you made.
It was a clothesline, dude. There was zero form on that thing. Could you imagine if you tried to do that to a quarterback? You just turned the edge, you ran, and you just punched a guy in the arm?
I kind of did it to Drew Brees in 2011. I don't know know how that didn't get flagged. I clotheslined him. I mean, and he was 3 feet off the ground. There's no way that that's legal at this point, at this juncture.
Hey, before we let you go, and I can't thank you enough for your time. You've been awesome here. Let's go Pens, by the way. I see your Blues jersey in the back.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we decided not to show up this year because it's pandemic and stuff.
Same.
Pens did the same. Pens did the same.
Okay.
Yeah, we were there, but we're just kind of, half-assing it to get around there. Dave Andrews, center for the Patriots, is out. That's obviously a massive thing for the team, the locker room, everything. Like, do you have any thoughts on, will this kill potentially what Cam Newton's got cooking over there with Josh McDaniels? Does this put a stall to this whole thing?
You know what? It's funny because if anybody's used to dealing with chaos, it's Cam Newton. People were complaining about, the wide receiver core. I'm like, he's probably pretty happy with the core he's got up there. People are complaining about the O-line. He's seen much worse in Carolina. I think it'd be a bigger deal if it was Tom. Tom and David had a really good, long-standing rapport, and David's a great player. But you're already missing Marcus Cannon because of the opt-out. You are missing a bunch of guys on defense, by the way. That's what I worry about more than anything in New England is the defense. I mean, Seattle was falling forward for 4 or 5 yards, and I know.
Hey, Ninkovich said the same thing yesterday. He was like, they need to stop the run. He said, I don't care about what Cam's doing. That's awesome, but they need to stop the run immediately.
They do. But I think last week was a big victory. And it's funny. I think they could lose this game. I mean, obviously, I'm sure, this isn't bulletin board material. It's going to be a tight ball game. The Raiders are so skilled, man. I just want to watch Bill watch Darren Waller and just, with his jaw dropped on the sideline. You could tell the way he was loving him up. He can't wait to see him. But if the Pats go 1-2, I still think they're better off than we thought they'd be after 3 games. After what we saw in the second half last year.
The eye test, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're a worse roster, but they're better off than we thought they'd be. I mean, they didn't get better, but Cam does things that they didn't have with Tom. And the second half of last game, it's like, I know in New England we say it's 2 different seasons. It doesn't start until after Halloween. The real season, that's what you build up to. But they don't have the luxury of waiting. They have to push the ball down the field. They have to develop those shots. And I think it'll be a great game this Sunday. I'm really excited to see that one.
Well, we appreciate you so much, Chris. I hope to have you back on. You were awesome. You were awesome, dude. Listen to the Green Light Pod with this man, ladies and gentlemen. Super Bowl champ, legend, Walter Payton Man of the Year, Chris Long.
You get an applause. I love it. This show's awesome. See you.
Hey, thank you, man. Have a good one. A lot of good conversation there. 30 injections, he said.
That's wild.
Wow. I thought it would be more, to be honest with you, how long he played in the position he played.
How do you mess up a low ankle sprain and a high ankle sprain?
Well, I don't know. To be honest, I'm not a doctor, so I would assume that I don't really know the difference. I think high ankle is much worse. Low is not that as bad or whatever. But now, the way he started wording that about how they work guys out and they're like, what can you do? Like him saying, that's them asking, like, what are you willing to do for the team? I never even thought about that. Because you see guys before game, pregame, running like 15-yard sprints and coming back. And they're like, he worked out before the game. They said he feels good and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that guy in that position, I would love to be in that position where it's like, am I good enough to tell the truth right now?
Yeah.
Or am I potentially 1 game missed away from not having a job here anymore? Yeah, I can do whatever, man. I think you just give me 17 of those Tyrod Taylor shots. I will be off and running. We get Kyle Van Noy joining us here in a couple moments. Cannot wait to talk to him. What was the poll and what are the results thus far? Big thanks to Chris Long for joining us, by the way.
Yeah, big thanks.
Yeah, go ahead, Z.
Is Ryan Fitzpatrick a sleeper MVP pick at this point?
Okay.
Yep, 26.8%. Nope, 66.7%. And other, we don't know what that means, 6.6%.
66.7% of the people that have answered this poll on whether or not Ryan Fitzpatrick is a sleeper MVP pick at this far do not know what that man is capable of. A man that does know what that man is capable of. A man who is a teammate of that man. And a man who had a strip sack and hopped on the rock last night, getting his first victory as a member of the Miami Dolphins, ladies and gentlemen. Kyle Van Noy.
Hey, we got to do a song real quick.
Okay.
Oh, Fitzmagic.
Ooh, you know. You better believe it's not so. Fitzmagic. You know.
Here we go.
Hey, what a night last. It was awesome, Kyle. It was awesome.
Yes, it was good, man. It felt good to get a dub, but man, I can't give Fitz enough credit for what he's gone through with his family situation, and to play the way he's been playing and leading our team. It's really truly remarkable.
I don't know what you're referring to there about Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I don't want to press on that, but what is Ryan Fitzpatrick? Because they saw a shot of him and Tua sitting next to each other, and he said something, and it looked like it was it looked like he delivered a dry line, and Tua just popped, like big-time laugh pop or whatever. Is he the perfect guy for this situation that's currently happening down there?
Perfect, bro. He's like the best older brother, older uncle Tua could ever have. Like he's such a good mentor, not only to him but to everybody on the team on how to enjoy playing the game at the end of the day. Sometimes we get caught up in the business. Sometimes we get caught up in, wanting to perform well, and he just brings it back to a normal human state of just having fun. I mean, I saw a lot of people taking the stash last night, and boy, oh boy, it's all about that beard game.
Yeah, 90% of the money, this is not your world, but 90% of the money gambled as of yesterday morning was on the Jags -3, okay? I would like to let you know. Yeah, I would like, this office, by the way, was very much into Fitz magic. It just felt like a night where your defense was going to come together, because I think you would even admit maybe early the defense hasn't had it figured out with no offseason, a lot of new pieces down there. We thought the defense would be able to figure it out, and it felt like a Fitz magical type of Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, you got your money's worth then.
Oh, yeah. Hey, let's talk about you coming into that defense, though. What has it been like with no OTAs, no offseason? I would assume that does have a little bit of an effect whenever it comes to gelling and finding a new team in there.
Yeah, I mean, it has taken time, and we've been working at it day by day. Training camp, it's been hard, hot as shit down here. We're all getting used to it, and we're all experiencing something new as a team. We're young, and we're learning a lot, and I'm proud because you can see the guys working. They're working extra. They're learning how to be professionals the right way, do the things the right way, doing extra, and it's starting to pay off, and I think we just got to keep stacking it up now. We got to ride this momentum, ride this wave that we're creating, and just keep it going. We have a diehard Dolphins fan in the office. He's from north left part of Canada, so it doesn't make much sense. But yeah, he's a big fan. Doesn't make much sense. But his fan in your fan base, I think, has been one that has been pretty loyal, but it's been so much of up and down for so long. What you and B-Flow and everybody, the vision in what you're saying right there, your fan base has to be pumped right now about the potential future in the next couple of years. Yeah, the 305, they're close, man. It's a football city. You can feel it. You can, the fans are really into it. You can just feel the vibe that's just we're creating here. And, we want to win for the fans here because they have been diehard. I mean, it's been 20 years since they've won a playoff game, and we're trying to get in that spot. How are you a fan of that team? He's from the north left part of Canada, a team that hasn't won the playoffs in 20 years. This guy is a diehard Dolphins fan. Gumpy, would you like to say hello to Kyle Van Noy and say,
how we doing, pal? Big win last night. Let's go.
He's in the back corner.
What's good, baby? I know when you were living in Canada, you just dreamed about being in warm weather, huh?
Yeah, pretty chilly. My dad was a Larry Zonka fan, then Dan Marino, and now here we are.
Okay, let's go. Now you got to be a Kyle Van Noy fan.
Yeah!
Let's go.
Hey, big strip sack last night, and then you recovered the fumble. You just kind of rolled your big ass onto it. That had to feel pretty good when the ball just popped in.
I know. It's crazy. I wish they could play the audio because I was over there. Everybody was like, the ref was like, where's the ball? And I was like, I got it.
Did it get ugly in there? I've only been in one pile, and I was on the outside. Are those piles in there, those scrums, a bit disgusting?
They are gross. Guys smell, bro. Get them dirty linemen, the dirty O-line and D-line that don't put deodorant on and they don't brush their teeth.
Before we let you go, and I can't thank you enough for joining us, Kyle. I know you just got off a plane. Your old ass is probably taking care of your body. You got a long weekend here ahead of you. We have to ask you about how Tua has looked. Do you think the Tua that we all saw at Alabama before he got hurt, how has he looked in practice? Has Tua? Ryan Fitzpatrick said Tua can do things that I can't do, is what he said. He said Tua can do stuff that I can't do. He was complimentary of him and everything like that. How has Tua looked, and has he been a cool dude to be around?
I love Tua, man. He's got a good vibe to him. He's special, but it's Fitzmagic still. You know what I mean? And I will say this about Tua. What impresses me the most about him is his willingness to learn.
Yeah.
Anyone and everyone, just to, even have him pick my brain a little bit, just talking to him. It brings me such joy, and I want him to be so successful, and I'm so happy in the situation he's in. I feel like he's in a good situation. I'm happy for him.
Okay, good. Go celebrate the first dub as a Dolphin. Enjoy your long-ass weekend and get your old ass.
Oh, you know what time it is?
Yeah, Kyle Van Noy. He's the man.
Have a good weekend. Stay blessed, and good luck on your bets this week. I hope you
Good
kill it.
man.
Hey, we're hot right now because of you. I want to let you know we are riding a heater into the weekend, Kyle. I appreciate you.
All right, man.
Cheers. Good dude. Friend of the
Great
show.
dude.
Beast.
Hey, I texted him as soon as he had the strip sack and fell on the ball. I sent him a text. I was like, good night to be Kyle Van Noy. Need you on the show tomorrow. And he texted me afterwards, I got you. And I said, all right, I'll text you in the morning and see if you still got me, because they had to travel back from Jacksonville. That's a late night. Their first win. I don't know what that plane was like. I was like, let's see how you feel Mignano, whether you know when to come.
There was another one where he was lined up at like middle linebacker and he blitzed and he absolutely fucking destroyed the running back.
Yeah, he looked like a freight train coming through. Left shoulder on the guy, right? Yeah, and I think it was Robinson.
Yes, it was.
Who had a hell of a night. That guy's a great running back, by the way. But he, I think after that, it was a much different player. Like,
you go.
Whenever you have to step up and do a pass block and a guy just steamrolls you, obviously that's going to wake you up a little bit. I think. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, to their credit, they have a young team that nobody knows play good football. But last night we knew it was going to be Fitzmagical.
Never a doubt, baby.
90% of the money was on the Jags yesterday morning. Are you kidding me, dude?
And we knew they were wrong.
Big thanks, Kyle Van Noy and Chris Long, both Super Bowl champs, for joining us. I should have asked them about each other, but you're going to have that. We'll have some phone calls on the other side, and also we got a sidebar that we got to go. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, September 25th. Go take a leak. We're back on the other side.
Just checking your availability. If you're in Indianapolis now, did you get to Buffalo?
Yeah, I got a plane that's supposed to take me down to game day anyways, so I could definitely have it go to Buffalo first. How long is the flight from Indy to Buffalo? You can find us a plane for like 4 o'clock. I think that'll be perfect.
The best we can do is depart around 5:30.
Okay, do we have can you find any other planes that could get us out of here earlier than that? I was just asked if I could appear in Buffalo within the next 4 hours to basically do the show on Fox tonight.
Okay, I'll call you back.
You know what I'm asking for?
Yeah.
All right, so he's going to call Jim Irsay and see if I can just use Jim's chat. He's calling me back shortly, but just start packing.
Hey.
You're the absolute best. Does this sound like a potential yes, you're saying? He's the fucking best. I would be so thankful. Hey, this is really cool. I don't know how many billionaires would do this for people that have worked for them in the past. This is awesome, and I can't thank you guys enough. Can I take a kendo stick to his back?
We'll talk about it when you get here.
All right, I appreciate you, man. Hey, let's break the fucking internet tonight. What a hilarious life. We are live on Fox in 6 hours and 35 minutes. 3 hours of sleep, no clue what the storylines are. Just fucking let the nuts swing, bro. Let's just go out there and have a good time. Plane company. I know. Here we go, boys. All right. This is going to be a night we're going to look back on and remember. And then we're going to hop on a plane and head to Memphis for college game day. I think this is a joke too. I just want to let you know, like, this is a Truman Show. I very much understand that this is not supposed to happen. I got the text at 1:42 p.m. today from Mr. H that says, have you heard there have been some travel issues? Can you make your way to Buffalo? Jim Irsay, owner of the Colts, literally lent me his plane. Might be the most confident I've ever been on in something. I didn't know we were that good of friends, to be honest. I was throwing a Hail Mary, and he responded and said, yeah. So I got here about an hour and a half before the show, and to work with Renee, Tom, and be on SmackDown with a bucket of makeup on my face. This has been a dream come true bucket list type situation here in beautiful Buffalo, New York. Come on, boys. We're going to be on cable.
By Pat McAfee, replacing our guest commentator Aiden English.
No sleeves in, George. Good to see you.
It feels good here in Buffalo. I got a text from the game, a cerebral WWE official. He said, hey, you might have heard about the travel issues. Can you make it to Buffalo? I said, absolutely. What a magical evening it is, November 1st, 2019. I mean, let's be honest. The Marine was a heater. You know what I mean? He's a great actor. He was great on The Real World. He was great on all of that.
Oh,
Tegan, no! That's how they do it in NXT, baby. Almost took me out holding another grown lady in the air. November 1st, 2019, greatest SmackDown in the history of SmackDown.
Pat, you joining us? It might absolutely be correct the way things have gone here tonight.
SmackDown in the history of SmackDowns, November 1st, 2019. It's documented.
I had a good time out there, man.
I had no idea what was happening, so it's really just a natural reaction to everything.
That was awesome, dude.
That's a real bucket list thing. Game day bucket list. This is like complete bucket list. 2 in 1 week. Oh yeah. Got a horseshoe shoved up my ass and a horseshoe owner lending us a plane. Are you kidding me, dude?
McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Just kidding. Squeak there. Almost just had to make a cut.
Breaking ankles.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. Friday. Feel Good Friday. September 25th. Just had Chris Long and Kyle Van Noy on the show. Can't thank them enough for stopping by and talking. Chris Long dove into, the history of NFL doctors, his experience from going from the Rams over to the Patriots, the Eagles team. I mean, we got a lot of information on him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was just in my vitamin brain there kind of recapping that entire call, and I was like, damn, we covered a lot there.
Oh, yeah.
And then immediately after that, Kyle Van Noy calls us fresh off a victory in Duval County with the Miami Dolphins. First win, strip sack, and a fumble recovery last night in Ryan Fitzmagical's magical night. Good first hour. Will the second hour live up to that? Probably not, because our first guest, Ariel Hawani.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Seinfeld's?
Whoa. What's going on?
Yes, it is, guys. How are you? Why? How come every time I come on your show, there's always an echo at the start? I mean, you have this like massive operation, and it's always a little wonky to start off. Why is it always a little bit turbulent as we take off?
Well, I would assume that the echo is coming from the basement bedroom that you're in your mother's house calling from doing all this.
How dare you? Do you know where I am right now? Do you have any idea where? Yeah. I know you're a Midwest guy. You have no culture. Yeah. But does your crew have any? Man,
Seinfeld, we get it. Okay, the guy's going to slide in the door. Whoa, whoa. They're going to do an entire thing. I know.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
I like what you're doing. Your backdrop is a green screen that's in a tiny little basement room you're in right now, and it is Seinfeld, the set of Seinfeld, which, by the way, I think has made like $2-3 billion just Seinfeld. Now he just bounces around in cars drinking coffee with people. I respect it. Hey, I respect the backdrop. I respect you also wearing a suit because it's a big day, big weekend coming up for the UFC. Nobody's really talking about it. I haven't got a chance to think about it. That's why we brought on the man who knows everything about the UFC, Ariel Hawani. Let's get into it, bub.
Did you say nose because I have a big nose?
No.
Whoa. Also, did you put on glasses because I'm wearing glasses and you wanted to go tit for tat with me in the intelligence factor?
Bingo, bango, boss.
Okay. Also, what a lazy tee-up question. Like, you did no research. You just said, let's talk about it. Like, you didn't even ask me that was amazing.
I will say, before the show started, I said, we have Ariel at 105. And a couple people in here, big UFC fans, are like, let's break down what's going on this weekend. I was like, forget it. That's what we have Ariel coming on the show for. Let's just assume that a lot of people don't know, like me. I will be the village idiot that asks Ariel Hawani all the questions for those of us that haven't been able to keep up with the incredible lineup of UFC fights that have been happening this entire time during football season. Yep. There's been a lot of great fights. And this weekend, Ariel, I've been told, big fights coming up, and the guys do not like each other, and they're going to swing fists at each other's faces.
Hell yeah. Now we're talking. I'm sure you got that from the Instagram Live with Dana earlier today. So let me tell you about why this is such a special card. This is just the second time in modern UFC history that two undefeated male fighters are fighting for an undisputed title. You have the undefeated Israel Adesanya, the last style bender, the face of the promotion right now, just signed a deal with Puma after Neymar signed a big deal with them as well. He is very entertaining if you've never seen him fight. The guy is as flashy as can be. He throws the kicks. He's a kickboxer. He's actually one of the best strikers in the history of the sport. Like, this guy is a world-class kickboxer. And he's going up against a guy named Bohashinia, Paulo Costa, the Eraser, who looks like he's from like a Marvel comic book. He looks like the Incredible Hulk. He's chiseled. He's massive. He's the antithesis of Israel. He looks completely different. He fights completely different, but he is the kind of guy who's just sort of like a bull in a china shop. He goes full force at his opponent. They hate each other. They've had multiple run-ins. In fact, when Israel won the belt last October, he gave Paulo the old DX chop.
Suck it!
Yes, it was incredible. There it is. Yes, exactly, just like that. So it was great theater, and they are just like that. That's a Paul type of chop. I don't call him Hunter, by the way. I call him Paul because I'm on the inside. That was like how Paul used to do it.
Oh, you're talking about Mr. H. That's who you're talking about. The Game, the Cerebral Assassin, Triple H, Hunter Hearst
He's
Helmsley.
Paul to me. He's Paul to me.
Terra Ryzen. That's who you're talking about. That feels good. So let's talk about the guy who's built like a statue, taking on Stylebender, who just signed with Puma and is the face. You're saying Puma guy is Stylebender is the face of UFC right now?
I would say with Conor in and out, you could put him in the top 3. And when he fights, it seems like he is one of those guys that transcends the MMA bubble, who gets people talking, who gets people excited. He's just a lot of fun. You may have seen last year when he fought for the belt for the first time, he came out and he did the whole breakdance thing with his buddies.
Oh, yeah.
He's a showman. He's just a lot of fun. He gets it. Yes, he did the flip and all that.
Yeah.
The guy is great. You know, he reminds me of a young Josh Allen. He's got that kind of flair for the dramatic.
Quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. He is young.
Yes, he reminds me of him. I just wanted to get a Bills reference in there. I'm so excited about them being 2-0. It actually, he reminds me nothing of Josh Allen, but I just wanted to try to see if I could get him in there.
All right, we'll do the football talk. You do the fighting talk. The fight this weekend, will they be banging? Will it be a knockout? Like, for those who are betting on it, potentially, you know, who love UFC more because you can bet on 2 gladiators going in there and trying to kill each other. Is this a fight that's going to be like a tactical? Is it a submission operation? Or are they swinging, throwing hard? Because I think at the weigh-ins, there was already a moment where there was a tense given you get
That's
it.
right.
Yeah, that whole thing.
And can I get some love for my connection? I feel like my connection is holding up a lot better than last
much
time.
better today. Much better today.
I mean, it's a little echoey, but yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll work on that. I took it very much to heart. I actually changed my whole operation just for you. So
We made you better. Hey, we made you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
There we go.
I don't think this fight goes the distance.
Okay,
I think that this fight will end via stoppage. I think it ends via KO or TKO. I don't think it will be a submission. So at the face-off earlier today, Paulo Costa, who is a BJJ black belt, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, showed up with a white belt, which is sort of, you know, an insult for a guy. Like, you're like, oh, you're a white belt. That means you're like way at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to ground
don't want the
fighting.
white belt.
And he took the white belt and he threw it at Izzy. Izzy didn't like that. Even broke out the Danielson crane kick in honor of the great Mr. Miyagi. So it was entertaining theater. But yeah, I just don't think that this fight goes the distance. And I'm really curious to see how Izzy shows up, because he got a lot of heat after his last fight. He won his last fight against Yoel Romero back in March. In fact, that was the last event that had people in attendance in Las Vegas, and people thought the fight was very boring. People jumped off his bandwagon. People said that he was all hype, that he's not as exciting as we said he was, all this stuff. So I feel like he's going into this fight with a chip on his shoulder, and I'm reminded of a song by the great Roy Jones Jr. back in, I believe, 2003, when he came out with that smash single, Y'all Must Have Forgot, when he tried to remind everyone that he was still the man. I think Izzy's walking into this fight with that song playing in his head. Y'all must have forgot the last Stylebender is still the man at 185.
Roy Jones, I remember, can't be moved, can't be stopped, can't be hooked, we hot, when will you? We can't do that song. Okay, because the rest of that there says something that just not for the Caucasian race to say, but Roy Jones Jr. did make bangers. Whenever you say, like, people were saying this, in our particular office, some people in here, not me.
No.
But the way it works in this office, people are saying is normally some terrible thoughts that some people have in this office that they say that they just want to pawn off on themselves. Is that what you just did to Stylebender, or was that actually what people were actually saying?
I actually hate that. I hate when people interview athletes and they say, people are saying. No, either you said it or it's just kind of a cop-out, right? Like, you don't want to actually say to the person that you feel this way. No, I actually defended him, and I put the blame on his opponent that night, Yoel Romero, who I thought should have brought the fight to him. It's not incumbent upon the champion to bring the fight to the guy who's trying to steal his belt. It's up to you to come in there and capture that flag, so to speak, like we used to do back in the old days on our, on our school playground. So I feel like he has a chip on his shoulder. He has something to prove, because there were people, not me, there were people who said he was boring, he was afraid, he ran, he's all hype, blah, 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 yada, 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 as they said in a famous TV show. You see how I did that? You see how I brought it all together?
Yeah.
I brought it all together.
You did.
Yada, yada, yada.
These sayings.
I mentioned the Biss. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Anyway, Izzy is the man, and I think he'll remind people of that on Saturday.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Ariel, have you heard anything about the status of John Jones moving up to heavyweight? Is there anything new there?
he wants to move up. I think they're going to keep him on ice until they do the Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou fight. Now, worth noting, that fight is not a done deal. They haven't even started negotiations for that fight. So I'm really curious to see what happens because they want Stipe versus Francis, and then I think they want John to fight the winner of that because you can't put John in a non-title heavyweight fight and then imagine he gets knocked out, slips on a banana peel, you just ruined that mega fight. But I don't think Stipe really wants the Francis fight. I think he'd prefer the John Jones fight because he already beat Francis. Francis is very dangerous. He's knocking people's heads off. So I'm really curious to see what happens with the negotiations. If, in fact, they end up booking Francis versus Stipe, then I suspect that we don't see John until maybe next summer.
I will say that the Ariel Helwani bump is real. We have gained 27 concurrent viewers on YouTube since you have.
Wow.
Yeah!
UFC, baby.
27.
I'd even tweet about it because you guys don't pay me to tweet about your show.
Okay.
If I would have plugged you.
No soup for
Could
you.
you imagine?
By the way, my Twitter following would just like kind of encompass yours. It doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like a, it's just like your little baby in there. We're cradling around.
Swaddling you.
But you did bring 27 new viewers, so we appreciate that. Booker T would beat the shit out of you.
What are you talking about? You're talking about a guy in 2020 who was relevant maybe what? I'm being kind 19 years ago. You're talking about a guy who WCW gifted the title when they were sinking. It was like if this was the Titanic, there was like that little piece that was just sticking up, and they had nothing else. They had no one else on the roster. And they're like, you know what? Let's give Booker the belt. He was a good soldier for us, tag team champ, all that stuff. You're talking about a guy who rode the coattails of the legend Stevie Ray all the way to the WWE Hall of Fame. If I ever saw Booker T in my hood, at my Starbucks, at my coffee shop, Booker, it's on site, Bubba. It is on site. Me and you want nothing to do with this. Are you kidding me? One-on-one with me? The greatest ever in this media game, the king of all things multimedia, Booker T, who hosts a radio show, local Houston radio show with, like, let's be honest, 27, I would say 15 listeners he gets on that show.
Oh, my God. YouTube cut you out there in the middle of your terrible service that Booker T would never allow into his house, just cut you out in the middle of that, and good for it. He would bust you in half, sucker! But I
work for the worldwide leader. I work for ESPN, all right? Hailing from Bristol, Connecticut. Are you kidding me? This guy is doing a show out of his basement, local Houston affiliate for 14 listeners.
Yeah. All right. Enough. I would not allow the Booker T slander to continue here. But before we let you go, because I do know you have an actual show you have to do. That's why you have a shirt and tie on, which I can respect.
That's right.
Conor McGregor. There has been some news out of Dana White that something fun is coming with Conor McGregor or something like that. What does that mean? And can you ruin your relationship with Dana a little bit more by breaking some news before him?
Come on. What time's your Instagram live with him later?
No, I was never invited back. But I did have one. Me and Lil Wayne. Hey, who is back? The Carter 5 Deluxe version is now available on iTunes after years and years of waiting. And boy, it was nice to hear old Wayne again. It was really nice, the wordplay. But let's not skip that. Tell me if there's something going on with Conor and Dana right now.
October 24th, Khabib Nurmagomedov and Justin Gaethje are supposed to fight for the lightweight title. It would make sense to reignite talks with Conor McGregor at this point. They really want Conor to fight the winner of that fight. They don't want him to fight anyone else. So my hunch is that they're just trying to, repair the relationship so that he can be ready to fight the winner of that fight. And if it's Khabib, it would be before Ramadan. Now, Khabib keeps saying he wants to fight George St. Pierre. I don't know if they'll eventually make that fight. The fight that the UFC really, really wants to make is Khabib versus Conor 2. Of course, Justin Gaethje will have a thing or two to say about that. But hey, if Gaethje wins, Gaethje versus Conor is a massive fight as well.
Okay, Dana White's a lot smarter than you are, so I'm excited he is cooking things up, but I'm happy that you have...
Is he here? Bring him in.
Oh, Ariel, I want to
dance.
You're going to get Booker T to beat the hell out of you, and then Dana White's going to tag in and come in off the top rope. I mean, I respect the way you operate, but I don't respect the things you say sometimes. Ladies and gentlemen, big MMA insider for ESPN. He has to go do a television show right now. Hailing from Canada, by way of Bristol, Connecticut.
I represent ESPN, not that bum Booker T who does a Houston affiliate show for 14 listeners. I represent the corporation. Helwani, you're talking to him. Recognize, Booker. Recognize, sucker.
Ladies and gentlemen, a corporate stooge and a sellout, Ariel Helwani.
Yeah.
Attaboy, Suit.
Attaboy, Ariel.
He's the best.
He is a wild animal.
Can we get him and Levitard versus Dana White and Booker T?
Dana White would tag in, I think. I don't know if Booker T would ever do anything with Levitard, but I do believe Dana White would love a piece of both of them. Booker T would beat the dog shit out of him.
He might have to now after he came after his show. Jeez.
I hope that's... Hey, is that a work or a shoot, brother? Let's go to the phones. Okay, so Conor's fighting the winner in October. They're fighting.
Let's go.
I think we kind of knew that, but anytime you could bring Conor's name, I didn't know, by the way.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know why George St. Pierre's name got brought up. He's 40 years old and hasn't been.
GSP, dude?
What does
Do
that
you not
mean?
even respect the fight game?
He's the GOAT,
Oh,
dude. He's the GOAT.
He's 40 years old.
He's the GOAT.
Bro, unbelievable you did that. Let's go to
43.
Speaking of Paul terrorizing Mr. H, let's go to Hunter in California. What's going on, Hunter?
What's up, Pat and the boys? Hey, I appreciate all the things you guys do. How you guys doing?
Not too shabby. We appreciate you, too. What do you want to talk about, bub?
So I want to talk about Jimmy G and the 49ers. So I feel like this doesn't get brought up too often, but, you know, he's got that Brady Belichick clout. He went on a date with a porn star when he first got to SF out here, and I'm really questioning his decision-making. So I want to see, at what point is Jimmy G's job at risk?
Well, apparently his job was at risk last offseason whenever the 49ers allegedly looked into potentially bringing old Tommy Foxborough back to his hometown and back to the 49ers. John Lynch had to come out a couple times to say that Jimmy G's our quarterback of the future, There was never any public conversation about that happening, but it has since come out that the 49ers absolutely looked into potentially Tom Brady. And if it wasn't for that one overthrow in the Super Bowl to Emmanuel Sanders, I believe, in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, there would have been none of those conversations. We'd have none of these conversations. But now, since he overthrew that, since they lost to the Cardinals early, since he's got hurt, and since, you know, who knows how they're going to do here going forward. And since you know that they did look into Tom Brady, you have to have that full conversation. It all revolves around one missed ball, which sucks for Jimmy G. He does not deserve that, because if he hits that, they win the Super Bowl. We're having a completely different conversation. The Niners, their starting quarterback, their Super Bowl champion quarterback, the man who embodies the 49ers franchise. He's handsome. He's a winner. He's out for a couple weeks. That stuff. Now it's like, should he even play anymore? It's like, whoa. That is a tough life to be a starting quarterback. And Diggs, you went after him a little bit for said date that he went on.
Well, yeah, and his decision making, because to find her on the top porn star page on Pornhub, you got to go to page 37. So it's like, come on, Jimmy, look at yourself in the mirror.
That was very interesting, because we do have some people in this office that have quite a Rolodex in that particular adult film industry.
Quite.
And I mean, it is tough.
What the hell are you looking at me for?
Yeah,
don't act like you're so high and mighty.
I will say you three potentially could run a fantasy.
I got a small crop. I got a small crop. I don't have a lot.
I mean, literally every single human being.
But in that,
Shame on you guys.
Whenever that, Zito, I completely forgot about your time. Whenever that came out, I was like, oh, look at it. He's dating like an Instagram model. And everybody in the office was like, no, my friend. That is a D-list porn star. And I'm like, how do you know this? Whoa.
Bang Bros.
I've been in there giving 2 stars on this.
Who do you think's rating him?
You guys are the worst. But Jimmy G, that one missed throw, I think, changes everything. He makes that ball. There's none of these conversations for probably the next 4 years. But now, since he didn't, we have to worry about is Tom Brady can be a Niner. Is this his last game as a 49er if he gets Wally Pitt by Mullins? I mean, there is a lot. That's tough. That is why, I chose not to be an NFL quarterback.
Smart.
Because those types of things can happen out of nowhere.
They've had so many injuries, though, that at this point, if their season goes south, you can't really look at Jimmy G and be like, hey, this is your fault. Like, everyone's been hurt.
Yeah, but remember, Jimmy G's, first season as a real full starter, he got hurt, game 3 or something like that. He zigged instead of zagged. People said that was a bad decision-making, too, because he could have just ran out of bounds after a gain of 10.
Yeah.
Instead, he tried Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he ended up...
he doesn't have the plumber heart.
I was trying to think of a quarterback that was always hurt. I don't know, but Jimmy G does not deserve that. One missed ball. I assume they'll continue to move forward. Kyle Shanahan's going to make their team good regardless because he draws up good schemes. Will they ever be able to win the big one? Kyle Shanahan's wondering. John Lynch is wondering. And I would assume Jimmy G, who already has a Super Bowl ring, is also wondering if this team can get there. But you got a guy like George Kittle. Now, granted, he's injured, and I think he's playing this week, but who knows? you're always in every game because he's a road grader at tight end. Their offensive line is good. But also, when you have an explosive tight end like Darren Waller, by the way, showed up on the scene here on Monday Night Football for the Raiders. When you have a tight end like that in the world that the football is right now, when you have a dominant guy, you can win any game because George Kittle can take over any game.
Yeah.
You just got to hope that he's healthy. But right now, like Kyle Van Noy said, or not Kyle Van Noy, Chris Long said, we don't know anything about any of these teams until about week 8. And by the way, teams at week 8 can get hot and make the playoffs regardless of how they're playing right now. I mean, percentages are very, very, very low that if you suck right now, you're going to make the playoffs. But you could potentially get hot and run with it. Let's go to Will down there in MISSISSIPPI, Mississippi. Not to
boys on this Feel Good Friday.
Sorry,
yeah.
I hit the answer thing a little bit late there. We cut off you early, but I love your energy from Mississippi. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Well, first things first. How about Flint's Magic and the Dolphins last night?
Hey, I'll tell you what, Fitzmagic with that.
20. Are you serious?
Are you kidding me? You won 11-11 there early. You had a pass interference call or two that kind of kept that streak alive. But when I watched Fitzmagic last night, I was down there in Mississippi. I said, hey, this son of a bitch can play football, can't he? And that's exactly what he did, Will.
Yes. Number 2, me and my dad were actually at the New Orleans Pelicans and the Lakers game whenever you did the pregame introduction. Just want to say you did absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you, Will. Also, not talked about enough. How about my tosses to Red Panda with the Bulls at halftime?
Yes. Oh, yeah, the Bulls, without her, without you, she wouldn't have been able to do what she did that night.
Bingo. Bingo. I did miss one throw to her because the Bulls, believe it, I'm not saying it, but it's.
Well, you were testing her.
They're tough to throw. Yeah. They're tough to throw. Some of them are very difficult to throw. But anyways, I tossed balls to Red Panda. I introduced Zion Williamson. He was still introduced second, which is probably why the coach got fired. But it's not his fault. It was management.
Wait, some were deflated?
No. Just the weight distribution. What do you want to talk about, Will? I'm not going to be the guy.
Well, we got a big game for the Celtics tonight. I'm a big Boston Celtics fan.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
All right.
Oh, started so hot.
Celtics kind of stink, right?
That's basketball, baby.
Mm-hmm. Celtics kind of stink. Is that kind of
3-1? Being down 3-1 is like the thing in the playoffs right now. So we'll be all right.
It really has been down the bubble. It is 3-1 teams. Denver Nuggets did it twice the first 2 rounds. They're not going to do it again, I don't think, against this Lakers team because they're just too dominant at this point. But down 3-1 means nothing in the bubble because the bubble is a whole different world. But when you're facing off, I'll tell you what, against Bam, and when you got Jimmy Butler down there selling his own coffee and wearing, then Tyler Hero started getting hot. I mean, that is going to be a tall task there. Miami Heat seem to be on a fast pass, a HOV lane to the finals to run into the Los Angeles Lakers, and it feels like the entire world is excited for it because we had somebody in this office that said Celtics Lakers in the finals like 8 months ago, I think, maybe 7 months ago. And it would be a real shame if Tyler Hero was the reason why that was completely wrong. One half of the team made it, but the team he's a fan of just couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, I would be nervous, but I just went out and got a fresh case of Cutwater, so if things go south, I'll just crack these sons of bitches open and I'll be fine.
Smooth, bro. That's clutch, dude, what you just did there.
Clutch.
You know, people are trying. You know, you've made it as a show when people are trying to work side deals for themselves. That's when you know. Have you bought every single Cutwater that you have currently had to drink?
That's Cutwater, baby. Hell yeah. I love the shit. I would buy it every single day for the rest of my life if I had.
Paul has so many pallets of it at the
it's Feel Good Friday, and you're still buying your stuff, but I appreciate that. And by the way, I do believe this is probably your work here, putting this Cutwater right here.
Whoa! I actually have hit a few around the office just in case, the urge just hits me and I just need to grab one.
Cutwater, canned cocktails, spirits. If you hear us, reach out to Conor because I am sick of him kind of, what's that called whenever you just force something in?
Oh, shoehorning.
Shoehorning.
Yeah. Shoehorn. I'll be shoehorning these vodka mules all day.
Let's get to a break. We'll hit some phone calls on the other side. Taylor Lewan joins us in about 35 minutes, 40 minutes actually. Left tackle for the Tennessee Titans, who made the Nfc Championship Game last year, obviously, and ran into Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. He's also host of the podcast Bussin' with the Boys with Will Compton. We'll hear how he's doing, how's life down there, how's Vrabel, how's the team. I think he wears a hat that says run the ball left. I like that. Ooh. Vrabel had a mask on that said just please give the ball to Derrick Henry. They are not quiet about the fact that we are a running team. And as an offensive lineman, I think you have to love that. Okay, I'm going out and I'm getting it every single day, especially with potentially smaller D linemen who have been kind of pushed to the forefront if you're incredibly athletic because you can get to the passer because it's a passing league. Tennessee Titans has said, no, we are old school. We are running this ball with this guy who's a defensive end at running back who's very fast. And then we'll go play action when we have to because that's a weapon for us as well. Can't wait to talk to Taylor Lewan in hour 3 here. Hour 2 finishes up on the other side. Want your phone calls, 1-888-MAD-DOG. Tweet along or tweet your questions in hashtag Pat McAfee Show live at Viva Lazito. We'll get one of those in as soon as we get on the other side of the break here. It is our honor to be on this Friday, September 5th or 25th. Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM Channel 82. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
I told her about it. I was like, you have expectations of the New York subway. Don't worry about it.
I can hear that roar from the crowd. It's from Pat McAfee. This environment is electric. We just walked in here, and I'm expecting some magical stuff to happen here this evening.
The guy who lost, he's been arrested and reported 13 times.
A baker's dozen is a lot of times to get caught doing something wrong and going to jail. It's almost kind of nice to see that Russian kid play bongos on his face there, but it's been awesome this season.
He's a former NFL player. Who's a guy that you think could be pretty good in the ring?
The only name that came to mind was a guy named Robert Mathis, okay?
Yeah.
Robert Mathis, not only this incredibly tough man, but the way he utilized his hands as an undersized defensive end. The human cockfighting world is one that I am very intrigued by. The amount of training, the amount of discipline, the amount of strategery, everything about it. The dude's got cinder blocks attached to his wrist. I think tonight is going to be a big night against Tarasenko.
I was going to say it 3 different ways.
Tarasenko. But I just think Triple G is such a magnetic fighter, and that's why this place is lit up the way it is. I was told not to blink, keep my eyes open. I brought Visine, I brought the vitamins, and I am expecting something awesome to happen.
Winner by unanimous decision.
Hey, wait, are we on the screen right now?
Big screen of Madison
Square Garden. Hey, mama, we made it.
This is the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
You wanted to bark there?
I always want to bark when I hear Mad Dog.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. You know, it's interesting because those songs start slow. So immediately after the bump, it's kind of like, is this my fault because I'm the one cueing the bump and cueing the song? Or is it the song's fault for not getting into the beat drop quick enough? I don't know. Who cares? Feel Good Friday, September 25th. Ariel Helwani joined us there before the break. Said a lot of terrible things about Booker T.
Yeah, jeez.
I've got some text messages from people within the business that know Booker T and have all said that out of the history of professional wrestlers, Brock Lesnar is probably number one you don't want to actually cross in real life. Booker T is on that short list of people that you don't want to actually cross in real life.
Booker T's probably 1A. If Brock Lesnar's 1, Booker T's 1A. Don't fuck with Booker T.
But Ariel Helwani is down there in his basement, just sitting in there, just shooting shots at everybody.
Helwani.
And then who else did he go after? He went after Dana White, I believe, obviously.
Tag team match.
Hey, that guy's got no fear. And I always thought Canadians were nice, but what we learned from other people these past couple weeks have been actually the Canadians are not us.
No.
Other people are saying, and Ariel kind of proved it there going after Booker and all these other things, and that people are saying, by the way, people have been saying that Canadians are potentially a dumb group. Gumpy, we did not say
No.
Biggest pricks in the world.
Not doubling down on this.
It was not me, though. This was potentially Evan Fox.
That said that, I'm basically from Canada.
Yeah, that's why you were saying shit about it, because you were pissed about Canada being so close to you.
Yeah. Office starts with Fox.
I think the line.
Feel Good Friday. Let's quit it.
I think you said verbatim. A lot of dumb dickheads up there.
Foxy said that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
I think everyone listening knows that I did not say this.
A lot of dumb dickheads out there, Pat. Everybody knows that once you go north of Michigan, the IQ drops about 50 points.
Oh, my. Is that what you said? Fox, it sounded
right.
Foxy, how
I'm
come
from
you?
Town Canadians love hockey too. We're the same people.
Pat, everyone knows you cross that Rainbow Bridge, you go into Ontario, just gets real fucking dumb.
Oh my
Is that a
God,
recording?
Fox.
No, I didn't say this, okay? It sounds just like you.
Let's go to Mitchell, not in Canada, in Alabama. What's going on, Mitchell? You didn't deserve that, Gumpy.
Hey, Pat.
Gumpy.
Last night, the Jacksonville Jaguars were the only ones to get curb stomped. UAB Blazers also took them on last night. I was wondering if you knew that we had a for the brand moment last night. Our punter recovered a stripped return, and they were shouting out your name quite a bit last night.
Were they really? Tell them thank you. I used to do those games. Those Thursday night games are a lot of fun, obviously. And the one issue I had with those Thursday night games was I couldn't watch the NFL game that was happening at the exact time. And I'm finding that now that I have the opportunity to do that this year, I haven't been able to venture over to ESPN yet. I believe it's Matt Berry and Golick Jr., who I am a fan of them actually as a combo in the booth there. So thank you to them for the shout out. I did not get a chance to watch it. I recorded it because I am a college football analyst at this point, so I want to know everything I possibly can because my gambling picks on College Game Day have been 4-2. My super boosts on this show for Friday for FanDuel have been 0-2 thus far. But I got bamboozled last week by a doctor shoving a needle into a guy's lung. Okay, I did not know Air Bear was coming in to play against a Chiefs team in Los Angeles and did not know what was going on. In the first week, Phillip Rivers threw 4 picks thrown into a defensive meeting room to get the jitters out, and then he showed up the next week. So, although I have been hot in College Game Day, it's because...
You all right?
Swallowed a June bug.
I do believe the bug just flew right into my mouth in there.
Where are they coming
This place is disgusting.
A lot of fruit flies in here.
Anyways, I mean, it just hit me right in the throat there.
Do you think that was a sign for all the bullshit that was coming out of your
So, what I was about to say that is not bullshit at all, before that bug interrupted me, is because I take my college football analysis job so serious, I do watch every single game.
Yeah.
So I haven't got a chance to watch a game last night, the UAB, the other team that they were playing against. And I didn't get the watch the entire DVR of that thing. So thanks for the spoiler alert there that I get a shout out in the middle of that game. And the kicker made an awesome play because I probably would have been excited about it. But I got a lot of tweets last night about that while I was watching the Fitzmagical evening. And Nick, I don't know what you are referring to. That is... Those Thursday night games are tough.
Well, I just know what the next super boost is. and I don't want your jinx, your mush screwing it up.
Mush! Whoa! Mush, I am hot. Aside from these super boosts, I've been beating the hell out of FanDuel. Hammered Down is at like 85% right now. Success rate.
Me, you, and Gumpy are all now 7-4 on our NFL picks.
Is that good?
Welcome to the jungle,
That doesn't mean
Meraldo.
I am not worried about the fucking super boost this week.
Oh, you guys just want to give it up? Okay, we'll say it. You heard the two Pittsburgh Stooges right there. My super boost, lock of the week. Every other sports book has the Steelers at -4 against the Texans. Every other sports book has the Steelers at -4 at -120. I'm here to announce it this weekend.
Oh, no.
At FanDuel Sportsbook only, the Steelers are at -3.5, a half a point, and they're at +120 for my super boost of the weekend. Wow. Pittsburgh Steelers -3.5 at +120 odds, which means you make more money than what you bet, as opposed to everybody else where you're losing money. Not losing money, but you get it, not making as much as you bet. Best odds. They have the best line right now. We're giving you a better half a point. $50 is your max, but this is the week. Listen, I've been too hot on picks, and I'm not somebody that's scared to talk about it. If I'm a pitcher and I'm throwing a perfect game, I'm walking into that thing, what is it?
Dugout.
And I'm letting people know, like, hey, this is pretty fucking cool. I'm about to throw a perfect game out here. I am not scared of that. I want to let you know I am on a heater. And this weekend, we will not be screwed over by a doctor injecting somebody's lung with a needle. This weekend, the Steelers at -3.5, +120 odds will be a lock. Go ahead and hammer it. I can't thank you enough for coming. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base for getting a chance to enjoy the hell out of this weekend, knowing that this is the lock of a season. All right! Nick's head is in his hands. Diggs is cautiously clapping over there because he feels like he has to. But I'll tell you what, the last couple of weeks that my super boosts have hit, something incredibly wild and unexpected has happened to the teams that I have bet on. So I'm pulling hard for the Steelers this weekend. I hope it doesn't ruin your season, boys.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe. Hey, you know what? Maybe Ben's lungs will be 100% intact this weekend.
There we go.
Maybe Ben is feeling better
Why
than
you gotta do that?
Because I feel good about the Steelers this weekend. I'm asked.
He likes it. Really?
FanDuel tells me, they go, hey, what team you feel good about this weekend? I say, Pittsburgh Steelers. They go, okay, let's make an odds boost. I go, lock it up. It's my favorite of the weekend. And we did it. Just like last weekend. Chiefs at Chargers. That was my favorite of the weekend. Then what happened? Dr. Pokey over there, okay, starts, go ahead and, like, what are those things that you sew and you put the needles in?
Pin cushion.
Crochet.
Pin cushion.
Yeah, they're doing that to Tyrod Taylor's lung. Could have never guessed that would happen. Air Bear comes in. Chiefs defense could never expect that. You think the landlord, Tyrann Mathieu, wasn't completely prepared for Tyrod Taylor, and then all of a sudden this dude from Oregon's playing quarterback?
Whoa.
That's a completely different ball game. Tyreek Hill was so flustered, he actually dropped the ball. He never does that. I mean, that was a game changer. This weekend, this is a lock. If this was minus maybe 20, I would have taken this team. That's how good I feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Houston Texans this weekend at -3.5, Diggs.
Yeah, it opened at 6. It's down to 3.5 for you at +120. And all the big money's coming in on the Steelers, so you're on that side.
That's, by the way, I think I'm potentially the guy leading the way with the big money these days.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I changed the Cincinnati line on Saturday College Game Day. It changed like 7 points or something immediately after. I think there's a chance, and I might be the only sharp that is just screaming into a microphone all of my picks. And will I get cold? Probably not.
No.
But, I mean, it is a possibility. I am hot right now. Everything I am hot right now.
Patty Walters.
Patty Walters.
Learn about this guy. He's probably watching the show every day if I had to guess. Steelers -3.5. Go ahead and hammer it. And I'm praying to God we get a win there because we do need to get on the right side of things with these super boosts because people are jumping on these things at a rapid rate because they understand that I am hot right now. And last 2 weeks we've gotten screwed completely. Things out of our control, by the way, out of our control.
Does it worry you that the Texans have played the Chiefs and then the Ravens and now going to the Steelers, it is the top tier teams going down a tier?
No, because if you listen to Mike Greenberg, he said the Steelers are right there up there with them. So, that's same result as the last 2 weeks, bub.
Okay.
Same result as the last 2 weeks. I just think that D-line, okay? Deshaun Watson, anytime you see them losing, what's happening? Deshaun Watson's running for his life.
Yeah.
And I think that D-line for the Steelers, and there's all these analytics and nerds on the internet that have proven to me, saying that if I had to play the Steelers, I'd shit my pants every single night going into the game, proved me to be right with there. I guess the amount of pressures that they've been getting is the highest in the NFL or something.
PFF has Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Bud Dupree, and Stephen Tuitt. All 4 of those ranked in the top 10 in pass rushers this year.
Yeah, that's what, like, there's people running for their lives. They've already taken a quarterback out. I mean, it is, when you're going against Ironhead Hayward's kid, Cam Hayward, in the middle, and he is considered the slowest out of everybody, and he is the second most explosive tackle, I guess, because you're behind Aaron Rodgers and Stone Cold Chris Jones, so he's in that field, and he's making jumping interceptions on Monday night. I mean, that D-line is just a different beast, and I think you're going to see Deshaun Watson running a lot this weekend, and not running like for first downs, I think for his life, and that's why I like the Steelers.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget, everyone's telling us, hey, you can't really make a judgment on this kind of stuff until week 8, so let's not, jump the shark here on the Super Boost. No. They're 0-2 so far. We really can't evaluate them until around week 8. Yeah. Now, if they start winning, then you can take those bet slips right to the bank, and it doesn't matter.
Because there's nothing saying that we will not be 15-2 on these Super Bowls.
Correct. Exactly right.
Because every other bet that we've been pumping out via Hammer Don has seemed to be just cash rolling into the office.
Yes.
And remember yesterday, it's not like we're just picking like the favorites and just going along with everybody else. No. We're not smart enough to know where the favorites are going. At all. We have no idea what everybody else is doing. When I was told yesterday the Jaguars getting 90% of the money, I was mind blown. I was like, really? So I am thinking very different than everybody's. Then, I will say that I immediately got like that means we're probably going to win then if that many people are on the other side. But we make our own independent thought here, and we are not scared to go out on a limb. And here's the limb. Steelers -3.5 plus 120, best odds on earth. They're going to go ahead and lock it up, and we're going to be 1-2 on these Super Boosts that we've gotten fucked thus far for.
I never wanted you to be more right than you are today.
I'll tell you what.
I just don't know.
Have you ever heard my predictions on the Pittsburgh Penguins and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When I bet on Pittsburgh teams.
Don't.
They crush.
Don't.
Good things happen.
Yeah.
I've been to numerous Pittsburgh Penguins games, okay? Probably 5 to 6. Only one game the Penguins have scored a goal in. In that game, it went to triple overtime, and they won.
How about that?
It was a magical night. The other 5, they've gotten shut out every single time in games that they're supposed to win. And Nick's like, I get good seats for Nick. I'm like, hey, Nick loves the Pens. This is my favorite team, too. Let's go enjoy a night of hockey. And then it's just, we're getting boat raced out of the building, and the fucking ice is melting, it seems like, coming off of Nick's forehead.
Yeah, it's real bittersweet. You get to sit on the glass, you get a great view of the game, but you get your teeth kicked in the entire game.
Do you remember when I made that ref make a call?
Yeah, you tried to bribe the ref. You pulled money out of your pocket, held it up against the glass, flashed it to the referee. He immediately made a call against us.
Was that against the Flyers?
Yes.
It was a power play. They scored 10 seconds into it. So the entire arena was bummed, and Nick was just sitting there like, this is literally 100% your fault. Like, not often can a fan get blamed for a team losing. That particular case, that just opened the floodgates, too. I think they scored like 7 or 8 more goals after.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I mean, it was ugly, and we had to leave.
We left early, yeah.
So, unfortunately, I'm going to bring the hammer down on the Texans.
Whoa.
Super Boost, bro.
I've been hot, bro, and it's a Super Boost, okay?
I'm betting on the Texans.
I would like to let it be known that when I put in the Steelers -3.5 as my Super Boost, I was so happy. Just thinking of Nick and Diggs just being so upset because of how this always goes whenever I pick a Pittsburgh team. Travis, what's going on, bud?
Hey guys, how we doing today?
Not too bad. I'm happy you're in Michigan. Does that make you just a raging asshole like Evan Fox?
Jeez. I was gonna say the opinions of Evan Fox do not associate with the rest.
You're getting voted off the island
together,
bro. It's like Survivor, bro. The tribe has spoken.
Sorry, Fox. See you, Fox.
What do you want to talk about, Travis?
Turn in your flag.
I was just curious with NFL teams, how fast do they start to decide if players are injury prone or not and decide to move on? Like, for instance, quarterbacks like Jimmy G or Drew Lock, they've both been hurt in recent years, and that starts to take a toll on the team.
Great question, Travis. I don't know if I guess injury prone is something that's thrown around by the media a lot. I'm not 100% sure that teams calculate that in. Now, and you could say that because Sam Bradford still got opportunities like late into his career. In a lot of these injuries, and this is going to sound like a cop-out for players, like a lot of guys just get incredibly unlucky. Like Anthony Gonzalez was a teammate of mine, it's a friend of mine, and he got so unlucky with the way his injuries happened. And it was like, boom, ACL. Then something would happen out of nowhere, fluke, this would happen and this would. Like some guys just get very unlucky, but in the NFL, everybody understands that everybody could get hurt at any given moment. So although I would assume that there's some people who maybe aren't like the stars, you're talking about Drew Lock starting quarterback, Jimmy G starting quarterback, Sammy Bradford starting quarterback. I would assume that those guys get treated a little bit different than the bottom half of the roster, special teams guys, which are good, because normally as soon as you get hurt, you're gone. So it's not like, oh, this guy's injury prone or not. It's like, oh, this guy was here, he's gone. Oh, get another shot at another team when you're healthy. Oh, he's gone. Like, so I don't know how much it plays into things, because if you're at that stage where you can be hurt and come back, like you're not just going to get cut for getting hurt, which a lot of guys on the roster will, which is why a lot of guys don't tell the truth about whether or not they're hurt. So it's a fine balance there, I think. But I don't know how often people are like, once they get you in a rush. Now, coming out of college, I would assume there is a real thought about like that person has not been able to, like Tua, for instance. Yeah. There was a lot of smoke that Tua couldn't remain healthy, still got picked number 5 overall. So it's like, who knows who judges it, who doesn't it. But I think once you get into the league, you can be who you can afford to be. If you're one of those high-profile guys and you get hurt from unlucky situations, I think teams are like, okay, he can still be great, he can still be great, he can still be great. But if you're bottom half of the roster and you get injured, it's like, well, see you later.
Cam Newton fell into that, and then Malik Hooker for the Colts and Derwin James for the Chargers. You could say Derwin James has been pretty
And Paris Campbell's another guy here for the last 2 years. If we just want to stay in the Colts, Wentz is a guy. I mean, you can be who you can afford to be. And a lot of those injuries are just very unfortunate event. Like, hey, you got unlucky there. For instance, Patrick Mahomes' injury last year, how unlucky was that? That could have completely derailed their entire season and everything. Just unlucky. But by the way, when you're playing a sport that's gladiators hitting each other, things can happen like that. And I think people in the NFL know that. But it is interesting how some guys get unlucky more than other guys. For instance, Tyrod Taylor. Missed a game because of guy
of all time.
God bless his lungs.
No one's been more unlucky than him.
No, I don't think so.
Seriously. I mean, Sam Bradford did look like a little Giants player playing in the NFL in that uniform, though. So maybe some.
What happened?
$60 million
at Oklahoma, right? Didn't he get hurt? He got hurt his shoulder.
Yeah.
But that was when he came back. Didn't he choose to come back and he got hurt? And that's why when the conversation was, if you can make it, you got to go. And I've always thought that. If you can make the NFL, you can get a degree later. I mean, University of Phoenix, there is 100 degrees.
School's going to be there.
School will always be there.
Always.
And you're like, well, if you're not a top 10 pick, you shouldn't go. I'm like, if you're a top 3-4 round pick, and everybody's saying, and you can go get fucking money and play football, and if you're a top 3-4 round, they're invested in you, so you get a chance to play for at least a couple years. Go get your money, my friend. Now, I grant some people can't do that, can't make the jump. They shouldn't do it. It's not right. But college will always be there. And I'm probably not supposed to say that now I'm a college football analyst. But if guys can go and get it, go and get it. Like, it is. There's nothing like watching a guy blow millions of dollars because he did the heroic thing and stuck around for his senior year, and he's a leader in the locker room, and he gets paid a per diem of $600 a month.
Yikes.
Dave in North Carolina, love of the game though. Love the game.
Love football.
Which, by the way, is a big deal. I concur, but you can love money too while you're playing. It's kind of a best of both worlds thing there. Let's go to Dave in North Carolina. Go on in.
Hey guys, let's go.
Let's go, Dave.
Come on, Dave. Come on, Dave.
Man, I was looking for the Mountaineers on that side, guys.
Shouldn't you have said, let's go, Mountaineers?
There you go. Hey, curious if you think Jalen Hurts is going to get any burn.
How you asked that?
Any what?
Burn.
Burn is playing time?
Yeah.
Wow.
Get off the bench.
I like that. A lot of people already turned on Carson Wentz. Philadelphia turns on Carson Wentz every other week.
Every year.
I mean, every other week. Not even every year. Yeah. Every other week, Carson Wentz. And I think Carson Wentz knows that. Donovan McNabb has talked about how it is being a quarterback in Philadelphia. Like, their fans are very passionate, loyal, and that type of thing. But Carson Wentz has not played great football. And does Doug Peterson know that? Did Doug Peterson know that maybe Carson Wentz will carry the burden of having to be the only real bright spot on an injury-riddled team every single year? And maybe he'll start forcing balls into defensive meeting rooms, and maybe he'll start missing players, and just to Hembo's stat, have the most off-target passes in a clean pocket out of anybody else in the NFL. Maybe Dougie P knew that, and maybe that's why they brought in Jalen Hurts. But I'm not sure if Jalen Hurts is the right guy to get thrown in there to an entire team that's injured, into a team and a franchise that the entire fan base just turns on every single week. That's going to be a tough gig for whoever goes in there. Yeah. Unless your name's Nick Foles, then they're going to get you the hell out of town.
There's no other reason why you would draft a quarterback in the first or second round when you already have a starter.
Yeah. I don't know why. Who's the Italian guy on ESPN? Sal Palantonio.
Sal Palantonio.
Sal Palantonio said immediately after that, somebody texted him from the Eagles organization and said, like, we're going to use him in different ways. So the thought was potentially a Taysom Hill, maybe a Taysom Hill operation. Are we going to see a little bit more of that now since they're so banged up? Or is it very much understood that Taysom Hill is a rare human? I don't think you can just plug and place humans into that, but maybe Jalen Hurts is a guy that you could. I'm not 100% sure. Let's go to Mike up there in Connecticut, where Ariel Helwani is trying to verbally assault people. What's going on, bub?
Hey, buds. How you guys doing?
Hey, not too shabby, Mike. What do you want to talk about, bub?
Happy Friday. Yeah, so I guess kind of to the point of like Taysom Hill, I was curious, in other sports we've seen kind of transformations of the game, like Steph Curry's dropping threes from half court or so.
True.
In football, we saw the Wildcat a few years ago. That's kind of gone away, but the mobile quarterback is still kind of a thing. Do you think that there's a transformation coming to football, like something that might happen in the schoolyard that's going to show up in the pros, like, the Kansas City Kickers putting up 70-yard field goals in
Great question, Mike. So football and life and the world is cyclical, I believe is the word. Everything kind of comes in cycles. You can even view society as that way. I mean, at one point it was free love, then it got very hard, then it's kind of going back to free love, and then it's kind of, everything in the world is cyclical. Fashion, society, sports, and football, I think, falls right alongside of that. At some point, it's going to go back to being a ground and pound game. That's just the way it is. And it'll be a little bit different. It'll be a little bit more open because they're going to want points and all that. But if you look at the Tennessee Titans, you can already, and the Baltimore Ravens, they are adjusting the way they play football because of the new style of defense that had to be put in place because of how wide open and how fast everybody had to be, because of offenses becoming so sophisticated and so freeing with the rules not being able to touch anybody, speed kills. So the defense had to adjust that, get smaller. And any defensive player that you talk to that says, hey, once we get smaller linebackers and smaller D linemen, it's good because we can chase everybody that seems to be smaller and faster. But what it doesn't help with is whenever you got those big-ass offensive linemen just coming right down the field with a power back and the opportunity to throw the ball. So I think you will see the game kind of change back into that fashion. Not everybody, obviously, and this will probably take 5-10 years because Patrick Mahomes is still going to do Patrick Mahomes. But look for football, just like society, to remain cyclical in its advantages to teams in offenses and defenses.
Ooh, well said.
It is interesting when we brought up like Steph Curry and shooting long threes. I do think the mobile quarterback is definitely that in the NFL now. Like the young quarterbacks in the league right now that have been drafted and are starting right now, they all can move at least a little bit.
Well, and the reason is because that's the only football that they play. Mm-hmm. Like back in the day, you remember like Notre Dame used to have like a pro-style offense. There was a couple teams that Wisconsin had a pro-style offense. There was like the pro-style offense is this quarterback that can drop back. And then those were the people that they were kind of getting plucked because it fit the NFL game. Then the NFL started realizing like, oh, there is none of those anymore, and the rules are a little bit different, so we can take advantage of this. If we have a freak at quarterback, we'll be able to do a lot more than what we were able to do whenever they were just standing back there. Kyler Murray is another, he is going to be tough to duplicate.
Oh, yeah.
Lamar Jackson, there's another unicorn. Patrick Mahomes, the game is changing in front of our eyes. But some team will decide to take it back old school. Look at the Patriots are doing right now.
Yeah.
They got 11-on-11 power football fresh out of Navy. I mean, that is going to happen while these other teams are happening. And at some point, they'll all kind of mix and probably flip, if I had to guess.
Deja's right, too. Tua, Herbert, and Burrow. All of them can run. All of them top 10
next year, Lawrence and Fields can both move.
Yeah, Lawrence and Fields.
Well,
it's coming.
Can Tua run? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he can
a little bit.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He'll run for a first down here and there.
Yeah.
He's gonna if he gets hit, he's glass, but he can move.
Whoa. See,
can't do that.
He got unlucky. This guy got unlucky. Come on.
What?
That's an idiot. You're an idiot, too.
I mean, he's not Fitzmagic putting his shoulder down.
Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company, so they're not just some big corporate stooge operation that overcharges for their shades. Everyone knows sunglasses are way overpriced. Shady Rays is out to do it differently with premium polarized shades at a fraction of the big name brand cost. Shady Rays has one of the best warranties in all of anything. Replacement of shades if they're lost or broken for any reason. It doesn't matter what happens. Did you drop them in an ocean, a lake? Did you sit on them? Did you break them? Anything that you possibly possibly could have done to your Shady Rays, they will replace them. And try that with your high-price, overpriced shades that come from the same factory as Shady Rays glasses. Most Shady Rays are only $48, and right now, if you use code McAfee, you get 25% off any pair of shades at ShadyRays.com. That's McAfee for 25% off any pair of shades at ShadyRays.com. Hour 2 is wrapping up right now. Hour 3 on the other side, we have Taylor Lewan. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Feel Good Friday, September 25th.
Hi, how's it going? My name is Pat McAfee. Used to hold balls for Adam Vinatieri. Now I'm in his home state. College game day is absolutely electric. And Brookings.
College game day has made the voyage to Brookings, South Dakota to experience a game with the best fans in college football. I unfortunately cannot attend because I have a game this Sunday, so I sent a man I trust to make my picks. A man who was my holder for almost a decade. Please be nice to him. Welcome this week's celebrity guest picker, Pat McAfee.
Go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Hosting Auburn. Yes, everybody saw this. The best fake punt in the world. What do you think, Pat?
I absolutely loved it all the way up until execution time. That is not one we like to show in the brand headquarters and punting and kicking world.
Oh, dance off. Oh, let's get weird. Yes. Duck that, huh?
Bang! Right off the top of the dome. That makes it a lot easier when you got a dummy standing right in front of you like that.
Running. He's, oh! Daniel Russo!
Wax on! Wax off! Knee to the face!
Yes! Serious.
Go!
Yes.
Go! Yes!
These teams stick with that 15. They celebrate by doing shotguns. And Arnold didn't figure that out. I'm going to the University of Virginia Cavaliers. That was great. Whoa! I will never, ever in the history of my life play against that ball. Oklahoma State is the winner here. That's what that's again.
But I'm going with Trey.
Please excuse my dumb friend Kirk. Look at this crowd. They've been out here since 4 a.m. College game day comes to town. They lose their mind. The population of this state is about 800,000. And when the Jackrabbits take the field, they're alongside all 800,000 South Dakotans. The Dakota Marker was in Fargo for far too long. Today, 5 o'clock local time, the Dakota Marker is back in beautiful Brookings, South Dakota. Adam Vinatieri School. They might be the Jackrabbits, but they're the goats today. Ladies and gentlemen, South Dakota State with the win.
Give me that place in.
No, don't do that. No. Leave.
Policy has Pat says it'll be no.
I told you when I came on your radio show that we were going to get you on college game day.
Not only are you incredibly intelligent and handsome, you're a man of your word. You picked North Dakota today, so I had to bury you.
That's okay.
But it's been nothing but incredible. The college game day crew is hospitable. In South Dakota State, I think we can all agree, they showed up here.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I've watched the show, obviously, forever. And it's on in every single NFL locker room. I told you that.
Yeah.
So this is a big time deal for me, my family, my friends.
All right, I'm back in the day here.
Appreciate you, boys.
It's from the training room of the Colts. AJ Watt tweeted. Text from every human that I've ever done television with, like since way back in the day. They're like, we knew this day would come. Equipment managers, old teammates. I mean, you don't get to trend on Twitter often anymore. They make it damn near impossible. Go up onto a stage with a couple legends, talk some shit in front of the incredible South Dakota fans. What an awesome opportunity.
Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good day, beautiful people. It is Friday, September 25th, 2020. Another Feel Good Friday is 2 hours in. Thank you for the beat drop there, Dwayne. Hour 3 will be one that where we will be joined by Taylor Lewan in about 2 minutes. Can't wait to talk to this dude. Obviously, freak athlete, Pro Bowler, everything like that. Host of the Bussin' with the Boys podcast, but also the Tennessee Titans are a team that is very intriguing because they are old school football. Derrick Henry, they got their head coach wearing a COVID-19 mask that is saying, please give the ball to Derrick Henry. Taylor Lewan walked into the last stadium wearing a hat that says, run the ball left. And it seems to be a recipe for success. Last year, it got them to the AFC Championship game, or not the AFC Championship game. Yeah, an AFC Championship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it did. It got an AFC Championship
Hell
game.
yeah.
They deserve a little bit more respect than what the national narrative is. Joining us now, the man who is the host of the Bussin' with the Boys podcast from the University of Michigan, Taylor Lewan.
Thank you, everybody. Happy to be here.
Taylor, great to see you, man. You kind of do look like a version of me if I was much cooler and stronger. Now that I'm noticing.
Honestly, I think we have the same exact body type, except for I'm walking on little toothpicks, and you got them firm, sturdy legs. If there's an earthquake in Indiana, I'm holding on to you.
A study has come out that those who have thick thighs and childbirthing hips, you will live longer. So I'm in a good spot there. But your upper body is one that I would love to have. I would never be able to. And I'm not tough enough to get all the tats that you have, which make you look much, much cooler than me.
Well, it's all a fake facade, and so far it's working. As far as that study goes, I hope it's wrong, because if that's the case, I'm dying tomorrow.
Well, for numerous reasons, probably, Taylor. We don't have to dive into that right now. But the Vrabel face mask, the COVID-19 mask, while he's getting on the plane, says, please give the ball to Derrick Henry, was something I was like, I love this, that Vrabel was like, this is what we want to do. You had a hat on that said, run the ball to the left. And we were talking in the second hour, I believe, of this show about how football will change eventually. Like right now, it's becoming wide open, a lot of small, like, hey, let's be fast, let's draw up a lot of plays. And you guys are like this old school football team. For offensive linemen, you have to fucking love everything about that, I'd assume.
It's a beautiful thing. But honestly, let's talk about Ryan Tannehill.
Okay.
Coming out of nowhere, traded for a 4th round draft pick, just plucked him out of Miami, and the guy is throwing absolute dimes and making quotes like "and one." It's a beautiful thing. As far as the run game get going, you know what, Vrabel, he's wearing the mask. He believes in it. We believe in it. I want to run left. It's for an offensive lineman, I wouldn't want to play in any other offense. This is awesome.
Now, the run game obviously is something that has helped Ryan Tannehill a lot, but when you got a guy like Derrick Henry in the backfield, and you know it doesn't matter, he'll probably pick up at least 2 yards every single time, but as an offensive lineman, you at least don't have to sit back and get teed off on. Is that a pretty accurate statement? Like the D lineman has to respect the fact that you could be coming to get them, as opposed to every other offensive, other than like 4 teams in the NFL, where that tackle, hey, I'm sitting back and they just get to tee off on me.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, with Derrick coming downhill, I have been on the unfortunate side where I've been blocking somebody and there's been nobody. And what happens? He runs into my side. There goes a rib, Adam and Eve type thing. I need to pull it off, make a woman. It's awful. It hurts horribly. But when you're the king, baby, when you run, your shoes come in something like this. This is what Derrick had for his first game. I think I'm breaking the rules right now. It literally came in a box like this, the king, baby. So we got to get him going a little bit. We definitely got to get him going.
The run game is something you guys have stayed committed to. First half, maybe it's not popping off as much, but then it's just kind of like you're wearing them down, and second half, here it comes. Is that a mindset that you guys are like, hey, even if it's not going in the first half, we'll be able to wear this team down in the second half? Is that like a general offensive thought motto you guys have?
Yeah, I think every single time we go into a game, most teams' goals is to stop Derrick from running the ball and stop us from running the ball. And so when you start getting those 2s and 3s and sometimes 4s, eventually you just keep going and keep working with it. I mean, Derrick has proven time and time again that he gets better as the game goes on. So sticking on him eventually. Hopefully, we may get a gap. Rodgers been absolutely dominant in the run game, especially in the playoffs. So guys working hard for him, man, trying to get the king going.
Ryan Tannehill, whenever he came over there, Marcus Mariota was a starter, and then Ryan Tannehill gets in. And at Miami, I'll say it because we like piling on Adam Gase here. You don't have to. He did not look like an NFL quarterback. Then last year, he looked unbelievable. What has he been like in the locker room? I assume he is incredibly pumped to be out of the Miami Dolphins organization and the Tennessee Titan at this point.
Yeah, we haven't talked about him at the Miami Dolphins. I never really watched him play. I never watch him. I usually just watch offensive linemen when I'm watching film, but when he came here, man, I just remember the first game, he was the starter. I walked into the training room and he's talking to Arthur Smith, our OC, and he goes, I want to throw this. I don't want to throw that. He was very commanding, he knew what he wanted to do and didn't want to do, and obviously it's worked out for him. His leadership capabilities, I don't know how they were at Miami, but have been very, very good here.
Your hair is incredible right now.
Hey, wow. It takes a lot to look this average, man. My hair up top, except for this pubic hair down below, so I appreciate it.
No, I mean, it is. It was hanging in your face almost like Scott Hall. Yeah, like razor. Yeah, a little razor remote. Who are you guys playing in 2 days here?
Oh, we're playing the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're pretty good.
Well, the Colts played them this past week. I did hear about them. The Minnesota Vikings. Who on the defense? Who's your matchup?
Yannick Ngakoue actually played for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow. Good chop swim cat, dude. Very good. Hey, the boys.
Will?
Look at it. Look at that. There's Conklin.
Will! What's up, dude?
Got him in. John Robinson's gonna yell at me for that one. He's gonna. Why is Will in the media?
Well, I'm pumped. By the way, I was pumped that you guys signed Will back to the team, bring you guys back together down there in Nashville. I was pumped up about that.
Dude, I was stoked about it. I got he texted me during camp with a little eye emoji, like the eyes looking over a little bit. And I for some reason, was like, is this it, dude? Or is this happening? Because we talked like a week before they brought him in for the tryout. And he's like, man, how sick would it be if I go to the Titans? I could play out one more year with the boys. Like, he loves it here. We have a great locker room. And he played 1 year for the Titans, and you would think he was here for 10 years. Like, when Will came back, everyone was so stoked to have him. You would think he'd be like a 10-time Pro Bowl, All-Pro guy, but Will came in, dude. He's got the best personality in the world. He's awesome.
Let's talk. I want to talk about Vrabel because it feels like Vrabel is a massive part of that. He feels like he's one of the boys, and his job is to make the hard decisions, I'd assume. But it feels like, and this might be from outside looking in, it feels like Vrabel has been a massive piece of building that culture and building up that locker room. And that's a real focal point for him whenever he got there.
Yeah, no, Vrabel has definitely done a good job of instilling a nice little, the characteristics, the identity of what this team wants to be. Vrabel definitely preaches that and acts like it all the time. He still thinks he's one of the boys. He's still chirping the boys. Me and Will are in a group chat, just the three of us, me, Braves, and him. And it's usually him texting us, insulting us, and then him going back to whatever he's doing and not responding to what we're pretty much how our day goes, man. But Vrabel's definitely done a good thing. We just want to keep this thing going, man. There's a new thing. I've kind of said this a little bit, but when we win games in the past, there seemed to be some sort of complacency, and then you get the break speed off you a little bit. But this year, guys seem much more focused and want to go down the right direction. And so 2-0 is a great start. I think this is the first time since 2008, but definitely want to keep it going.
Your tattoos are so awesome, man.
Hey, I tell you, it is a compliment. Is that a real chain? That thing looks unbelievable.
$6, dude.
Is it really?
Yeah. $6. Got it from a bum in Los Angeles before quarantine.
There's no reason to wear anything that's like no real gold. People see me, they're like, oh, this guy's in the NFL. Everything he wears is expensive.
Bingo.
Target.
Chad Johnson kind of ruined our entire thing. I used to go to Claire's and get those earrings and everything. They were like $4. So it was like, oh, you made the NFL spend that big money. I'm like, yeah, 10 racks. 10 racks out there. What do you got, Connor?
Taylor, you guys added Jadeveon Clowney. How has he gelled with the team? And also, when you signed him, did you think to yourself, like, son of a bitch, I got to block this guy in practice every day, or what?
No question. Absolutely. I thought that was actually one of the first things I thought of. But I'd rather go against him during the week and not on Sunday. Guys, he came in here from the get-go, was one of the boys. Him and Vrabel obviously together in Houston for a little bit, so they had their own type of relationship. Vrabel likes to do this thing where he just says people's names in the middle of his team meetings, and JD happens to come up probably every 15th word. So they have a very good relationship. But I mean, he walked in here and he was definitely.
Are you a little jealous? Hey, it seems like you're a little jealous. Oh. JD would be able to text him, he would answer back. It sounds like there's potentially a little bit of drama there with the boys.
I tell you what, no, because I feel he's just Vrabel's on me probably more than anybody. every single week it's something. So, I mean, he's definitely on the boy. If it's not a lack of attention, for sure. I definitely get a lot of attention from Vrabel.
I've always said, and it sounds like you are alluding to this a lot with the boys, and your podcast with Will is awesome, by the way. I mean, to be fair, maybe one of the greatest clips in the history of head football NFL coaches on a podcast came from Bussin' with the Boys, where Vrabel said he would cut off his penis to win another Super Bowl. Yep. And that, you guys got credit everywhere, as you should have. It's awesome like that. But I've always said that you can measure, obviously, somebody's 40 time in their bench press, but nobody talks about, in the media world enough at least, that if the team likes each other, God, they are going to be so much better than a team that is not like that at all. Like, I think that is the biggest X factor that an NFL team can have, is whether or not they get along with each other. And it feels like your locker room is one that guys love each other. You said JD just dropped right in and started getting along with everybody.
Dropped in, dude, like the little crane in Toy Story. I tell you what, dude, he like I've been in this locker room this is my 7th year. Lucky to be in one locker room my whole career, but I've been 2-14. I've been 3-13, and I didn't like those guys very much. They didn't like me. You know, at the end, when you're in November, December, and you're losing a lot of games, nobody likes each other. So it's this team, the way these guys act, the way we work together every single day. There's definitely a camaraderie. There definitely is us liking each other. You can feel that chemistry. And I think you're right. I think that definitely helps when you're playing for the guy next to you. As cliche and as cheesy as Remember the Titans quote that was.
Oh, Remember the Titans, by the way.
No, with the cheesy, hey, you play for the guy next to you. I just feel like that's a cheesy line that might have been in that movie. Well, honestly, this might be a hot take. It's a bit of an overrated movie, in my opinion.
Whoa!
I said it. I said
you play for the Titans.
From a Titan.
Wow! Was it because strong side?
Yeah.
Left side! Strong side! Left side!
Hey, you can throw the ball a mile, but you can't pitch it 5 yards. That kind of whole thing, I don't know. It wasn't for me.
On these fields, they were fighting the same battles that we're fighting. Wow! Taylor.
I liked it when the movie first came out. Awesome. Then all of a sudden it was played over and over and over again. It was too much. It was like the Marshawn Lynch clip over and over and over and over and over and over again.
You're doing a disservice.
It's too much. You want an inspirational sports movie that'll give you goosebumps every single time?
Yeah.
Netflix, Goon. It's the most inspirational sports movie.
It is a great.
It's a good movie.
You talking about Doug the Thug Glatt?
Bro, listen. Okay, I'm from Pittsburgh. All right, I'm from a hockey town. I know the movie Goon, but you just shitting on Gary Bertier and the Remember the Titans franchise is something I did not expect out of today's conversation, especially from a fucking Titan.
Yeah, Herman Boone.
Diggs. We're going to move past this because I am worried about your legacy at this point, to be honest with you.
Your calves look great.
Thank you. I shaved them for the wrestling thing that I did, and they
look phenomenal.
Thank you. I've been working on them a little bit. I appreciate it.
God bless.
Do you have a calf tat? Do you have a calf tat and a shin tat? And
I don't know if I can even watch out for these dogs. Don't sleep on them now.
Oh, you do have tiny little ass legs. How does?
Dude, I'll tell you what. They're fast though, dude. They're quick. You look at me and be like, this guy's unproportional. Probably not much between the legs, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's on you, man. It's a lot.
Between the legs, though, who knows? You know.
No, I'll tell you, it's nothing to call home about. The key to happiness in life is low expectations.
Hey, respect it. Go ahead.
Taylor, you're talking about Vrabel and trying to get JD in the locker room. Clowney, what text? Like, it came out in the media that you guys were sending him texts to get to the Titans. Is that true? And what were you sending him?
Yeah, first off, I love your hat. Second off,
it's from Hatworks where you also shop. I got it because of you.
No, we talked a couple years ago when I was in the Pro Bowl, and we had a conversation about this. So I definitely remember that. But
you changed this guy's life.
My life.
Taylor, you all by yourself. He has 5 hats on the wall over here that all look the exact same.
Really?
It's all because of you. Yeah, legit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, with JD, calling JD and stuff like that, Ben Jones is good friends with him. J. Joe obviously was friends with him as well, but Ben FaceTimed him and he answered. I took the phone and I told him, remember the Outback Bowl? Remember that fumble recovery you had? We could do that together on the same team now. This could be fun,
Yeah.
I am equally as famous for him, probably not even close to equally, but that play definitely. I was in during that play, and so it's nice to have him on the same team now.
Oh, that was when you weren't the one he just blew up on what?
I would hate to point out who it was, but it was completely the Titans' fault. It wasn't my fault. You're selling dudes out over here, Pat. You got to watch out if you're going to be my friend, buddy.
You are
watch out. I will drive the bus right over you.
A lot of finger pointing in the Taylor Lewan camp. All four.
Pointing at everybody. Yeah.
All four, because when you're pointing one finger, there's three pointing back. Not in Taylor Lewan's world. Oh, Jesus.
No question.
Fast Friday day, how'd it go? You guys feel good going into the weekend?
Yeah, it was good. I felt limber today. I felt like I was moving a little bit. Things were good. I like to get a little conditioning on Friday. We do a little red zone. I like to sprint all the way to the goal line and come back. Gordy go hard type of cat. So it's my go-to. So yeah, Friday's always a good day, man. You feel good. You feel lubed up, And so it's just a solid day overall. What are you guys doing? Are you guys in Indiana?
Yeah, we're in Indianapolis. To be honest, Friday, big mail at Indy. So the more you want to talk will be better for us.
Would you guys ever move out of Indianapolis? Or is this like home base forever now? You've made your ground. You've been a part of the Colts regime for a long time.
Well, it's a great question.
Are you still part of the Colts?
Kind of. I mean, I don't know. I get asked to do some things every once in a while, but it's a very new regime and everything. I don't really know everybody. Ursay gave me a jet last year, so I'm very thankful for that. But there's been a lot of companies that have tried to get me to move out of here. We just have such a good setup here and a good network here. Unless something awesome came down the pipe, I think this is probably it, yeah.
Here's my issue with Indiana. I think the city's actually pretty cool.
Well, right now there's bums shitting all over the place because the mayor is doing nothing. But
what'd you say?
Well, there's just bums shitting all over the place in Indianapolis now. But I think normally though, Indianapolis very clean, good city, like wholesome place, right?
That is like I've heard about that in San Francisco. People just shitting on the sidewalk and stuff like that. I've never seen another human being shit actually anywhere ever in my entire life. I've never actually watched someone shit besides my kids. But
go to New York. Dad of the year. But
Indianapolis, why would you want to be homeless in Indianapolis? Like go to like California or somewhere warm.
We've been saying that a lot around here. But the mayor actually put a bunch of porta potties around downtown Indianapolis because of the human pooping problem that it actually was having here for a little bit.
I feel like that's at least a step. I don't know if it's in the right direction, but it's a step.
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure because those things fill up, by the way. And then what happens after that? The homeless person who does not care whether he's sitting on plastic or on grass. It does not matter there. You know what I mean? But yeah, Indianapolis, good city, don't you think? You've been here a few times now.
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of steakhouses, which makes me feel like you guys are hiding something. Like you guys are doing something behind the scenes that I don't know about, like a St. Elmo's, and then there's Harry and Izzy's, and you get the shrimp cocktail that just blows your sinuses out because it's all the horseradish.
Are you a guy do you go out the night before games at places? Do you go eat somewhere?
Not anymore. Not in COVID, baby. You can't do nothing now. I've had my mask on for 5 minutes. It's a new personal record for me in the last 3 months.
Hey, they've been coming after the coaches for the mask thing. It seems like that's going to be a very tall task to get coaches to keep those masks on for entire games.
But here's let's just, since it's Friday and we're just killing time at this point, why would a coach wear a mask during a game with the players that? Like, why is it such a big deal if he's not wearing the mask and the guys are wearing the whole mask? Like, we're together every single day.
We've been asking the same questions, and they're going through the same protocols as you guys are, I'd assume, right?
Yeah, I would hope so. I've never seen Vrabel get the nose thing, but he's in here every day. I would think so.
Well, and how about the refs? I think the refs are going through the same protocols, and they all have masks on until they have to talk to each other. Then as soon as they have to talk to each other, when they're closest and they're in their little huddles trying to figure out whether or not to fuck up the game or keep it going, and they take the thing off and they just breathe on each other, and then they put the mask on and go back away whenever they're nowhere near anybody. None of it really makes a lot of sense to me, Taylor.
It doesn't. It really, I mean, if you're going to put the mask on, just put the mask on and it's fine. And the mask is here and then we're good. But as soon as I do this, I've now defeated the purpose of the mask, just to tell you, hey, that was a holding on so-and-so.
Yeah.
But I don't even want to go down the whole page of shitting on the refs right now because your boy hasn't had 2 penalties in 2 games.
Hey!
That is a clap.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Last year.
Thank you very much. Make sure you clap harder.
Hey, last year, at the beginning of the season, I do believe you had to come out and say, I understand I'm getting penalties. I'm not happy about it either. Get off my ass, basically. And this year, completely. Is there anything different to your game, or you think it is potentially just refs noticing or not noticing?
No, I'm way more conscious of it. Like, I'm definitely like, if something happens, guy goes away, I'm not trying to give him a tug or anything like that. I like to just comment on that, on the me just going off on myself. It's a genius move if you really think about it. Like, it's like Rabbit in 8 Mile.
Yeah.
Like I just insulted myself so much. What are you gonna say back to me?
Yeah.
And now I've won the rap battle.
Yeah. I'm from a trailer park. He did fuck my girl. I did choke and spit all over myself a couple times.
Best friend.
Mom's spaghetti was so bad I puked it up. The whole thing. Yeah, like I think that's a good move by you. And by the way, in the face of a PR crisis, by the way, people should just dive right into it and own it and keep it moving. That's exactly what you did. And I think that's why people like you, by the way, Taylor, because you're a very relatable human who just so happens to have tiny legs but an incredibly athletic upper body that helps the Tennessee Titans, much like remember the Titans dominating the run game, which is all that matters.
Yeah, definitely.
Bro, it's a good movie, dude.
So good.
That movie's it's a good movie. It's just so overdone. It's too much. I have to double down. I'm going to double down. I don't think that's that great of a movie.
All right. You want to take a phone call? Let's take a phone call.
Mystery Alaska.
Yeah.
The hockey movies get it for me than anything else.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, I respect it. Yeah.
Michigan guy.
Let's take a phone call. Do you mind if we take a phone call?
Go ahead.
Because literally we're just killing time. What do you have this afternoon? Anything?
I got a little dry needling appointment at 2 o'clock. We got all the time in the world. I can be late.
Dry needling appointment?
Needles all over, everywhere. These little legs, man, it's like a little WD-40 in there. Got to make sure the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
So what do? You lay down, that's the one where they just put all these.
They put it everywhere. I don't know if I can. They just put it, I mean, that's a little inappropriate, but they put it everywhere. You put it all over your legs and my arms. We got to loosen up the trigger points. Do you get ready to play Yannick Ngakoue? He's got a great move.
Yeah,
he plays hard.
And he's going to kick your ass potentially if you don't get that done. Do you get a lot of injections? We had a lot of people come on the show. Ninkovich was talking about how many injections he got. Chris Long was talking about how many injections he's gotten because his Tyrod Taylor story is kind of taken over where people were like, A, how did they get the lung? And then B, everybody was like, I don't think everybody knew that every single game there's people taking injections to do things. You're doing a dry needling appointment here in about 37 minutes. Do you do injections or are you mostly like holistic? Old school, I'll
do holistics. I'll do, I definitely try to stay holistic as much as possible, but I'll do like IVs during the week and stuff like that, stay hydrated. Big NAD guy, I don't know if you've heard about that. Big Joe Rogan guy as well. He's been talking about that a little bit lately. Big NAD guy. As far as the Tyrod Taylor thing.
What's NAD? Is that DMT, but for your body?
No, that'd be sick if it was. NAD, it's like, it's 3 big words. I wish I had somebody on there, but it basically helps regenerate your cellular level, and it can help with like soreness, conditioning, all those types of things. But basically helps shorten or lengthen your telometers, or at least slow down the process of shortening your telometers. I don't feel like getting into it right now, Pat. This isn't a science show. It's for the kids.
By the way, it would pass a lot of time, though, if you did try to dive into it. Let's get to the phones here. Let's go to Nick in Iowa. Nick, what's up, dude? Nick, got no service in Iowa. Let's go to Michael in Dallas. What's going on? Is that your brother? What
the hell, dude? I don't know.
That's tough. Fix the service.
Could be.
Michael, what's going on, bub?
Not much. What about you?
Just hanging out. You have a question for a man who's about to get a dry needling operation here, Taylor Lewan, Michael.
Ooh. Sure. So every year, preseason, power rankings come out. Philadelphia Eagles always top 10, sometimes even top 5. And every single year, past 3 years, they stink. Carson Wentz can't throw the ball more than 10 yards. Jesus. They have no receivers. The best for receivers is probably Dallas Goedert. So I want to...
Taylor, your thoughts. Taylor, your thoughts. How about
Let me tell you about the Philadelphia Eagles and the NFC, baby. They're talented across the board. I don't know. Their offensive line's really good. Lane Johnson's great right tackle. Jason Peters has literally been here since the inaugural season of the NFL. It's Carson Wentz throws absolute dimes. I don't know.
Well, actually, I think stats are saying that he's not.
Dallas, it said, right? He said they're from Dallas.
Yeah.
It was Matt from Dallas. He probably a Cowboy fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, I don't know. I think the Eagles won it like 3 years ago, didn't they? 4 years ago?
Yeah, but boy, those seem like long ago days.
They do. One year you're the shit, like you're the top dog. And then all of a sudden, it's like you're fucking nothing after that. Like the world is over.
Fire everybody. Fire everybody.
Fire everyone. Like Super Bowl teams are cleaning house 2 years later. It's wild.
It is.
And it's you know what's crazy sad is like one day I'm gonna be sitting in my locker and someone's gonna say, "Hey, Taylor, the GM wants to see you. You should bring your playbook." And I'm gonna be like, "This is it. This is that moment where they're cleaning house."
Yeah.
In my 15th year with the Titans.
Oh,
it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be sad, but it is what it is.
Oh, you just kind of said like 8 more years of dominance here, and then they'll give me the. That's what you got to do. Yeah,
I'm sure if I'm getting cut at 15, there was a couple of years I was stealing it at some point. But I'll tell you what, I feel good. These little legs are moving.
Is this the best you felt? How about this? Because this has been a topic of conversation because we're a daily show. And you have to overreact when you're a daily show to everything. And the world is falling for every team. At what point do you guys think you're still figuring out your team this year? Because this team is obviously different than last year's team. In last year's team, you guys got hot there at the end. You figured out what you were. Is this year's team still trying to figure it out, you think, for what you guys actually
100%.
are?
I think if like I said, we're 2-0 for the first time since 2008. But at the same time, like you walk in this locker room and there's so much room for improvement. Our defense is, I walk by the DBs going to my locker every day and they're talking about ways they can improve. Our offensive line, I mean, from a protection standpoint and from a run, like even from yards, from scrimmage standpoint, we've been better statistically, but there's still so many glaring things to us that we can fix. So yeah, I wouldn't be sold just yet on us. We got a lot more work to do before we can prove that we're it.
Well,
hold on. It's Jeb.
Is that Vrabel?
Hey, I'm on the Pat McAfee show.
Who is that? Anybody cool?
It's Jeb. He actually. Do you have Corona?
The Titans. The Titans were in the YouTube chat, by the way.
They still are. They want to call in.
Hey, the Titans just asked you a question.
Oh, what'd they say?
Said something about October. What'd they say?
They said less poop, more football.
No, something
way you
about
make it to 15.
Spooftober?
Spooftober. Don't disrespect it, Pat.
What is it?
Well, I mean, if you really sat down and thought about it, you could probably figure it out. But October is it's everything because Halloween's my favorite holiday. It's the weather is breaking, the leaves are turning, there's a briskness in the air.
Oh, football!
You feel warm and fuzzy. You're putting a jacket on in the morning, but then realizing it's still too hot, so you gotta take it off.
Yeah.
But it's just it's kicking off the holiday season.
Yeah.
By the time October 31st gets there, you're halfway through the season. You're on the downward spiral. You're hitting the Thanksgiving after that. You're going to Christmas.
Yeah.
The New Year's there. It's a big fucking time, baby. It's you got to watch scary movies, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, not really.
All of Halloween, obviously.
Yeah.
There's spooks everywhere.
Remember the Titans, too, because it's middle of football. Yeah. Left side. Ladies and gentlemen, Pro Bowler, legend, host of Bussin' with the Boys podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Taylor the One. Yeah. You're the best, Taylor. Thank you, man.
Have a good one, guys.
Hey, you too. Thanks for passing like 30 minutes with us there. He's gone. That was awesome.
Yeah, but he doesn't remember the Titans?
That was outrageous. Yeah, and I feel like that was potentially just something that he said just to potentially stir the pot a little bit on here.
Everyone has flaws.
You know what I mean? Like I think there's a chance that was strictly to stir the pot.
Rattle the cages a bit.
I do believe that was just for a potential conversation piece to the yep, thank you, Jay. There we go.
Attaboy, Jay.
We're about 25 minutes past the break. Can't take Taylor the One enough for that. We'll answer a lot of phone calls on the other side of this to wrap up hour 3 here on this Feel Good Friday, September 25th. Don't judge our team yet. We're 2-0. Hey, we got a lot to improve.
Oh, yeah.
That's every team, by the way. It's funny how everybody in the NFL tells you, like, hey, we don't even know if we're a team yet, okay? So let's all just kind of relax on whether or not we are being crowned as the champs here week 3 or not.
I mean, how are we supposed to pick games off if everyone in the NFL tells us they don't have no idea who they are?
Well, and that's why I was always very confused by my friends that would gamble on games because I had no idea if I was going to shank 5 punts that day, which, by the way, would completely fuck our team over. And it's like, I don't know how you were supposed to know. I don't even know. Hey, that's gambling, baby.
Hell yeah.
Remember, the Pittsburgh Steelers -3.5 at FanDuel Sportsbook, -4 everywhere else. -120 everywhere else at FanDuel Sportsbook, +120 there. That is my super boost. That is my lock of the weekend. You're welcome, Pittsburgh. We're back on the other side to wrap up this game or this show and break down all the games of the weekend. This is the Pat McAfee Show. I love Hawaii, man. Every time I go there, now granted, you make a Pro Bowl, you think you're going to Hawaii. Instead, we went to the desert in Arizona. And then the next time I made a Pro Bowl, it was in Orlando. I was like, I'm out. I mean, come on.
Were you the first group that they stopped doing Hawaii?
Yeah, I think it was like first or second group, of course. Of course. Worked my entire life to get to. I mean, it's an honor. It wasn't, though. I completely understand why guys don't go. It's like Tom Brady sitting out for another Pro Bowl. He's like, yeah, he didn't want to drive 3 hours into the desert right now to go practice.
He go wherever he wants.
Yeah, and then the games, They need to make it just a bunch of competitions. They need to make it a bunch of contests, like the 40, everything like that. The bench, bring back the bench for the offensive linemen. Get an eating contest in there. Get the kickers to do a kicking contest. Get the punters to do a punting contest. Have that quarterback challenge that I watched on NFL Network just a couple months ago. Have that happen again for the long ball. You get Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes in there. You get Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers throwing maybe on an accuracy challenge. I like the little games that they set up for the quarterbacks. By the way, I would have went to the one in Orlando. I actually said I would go if they would have let me compete in the quarterback little carnival thing they had. And they told me no. And I was like, well, I'm not going.
Who makes that decision, the NFL?
Yeah, I got an actual letter that said no. And I was like, well, I retire and I'm not coming.
We regret to inform you that you are not allowed to participate in the quarterback.
I think I would do well in that thing, by the way. I think I would do very well in it. Everything is like right in my range. Like the deep ball, I think, is like 40 yards. For me, that's that's my actual flick of the wrist. Like, you know how you watch those Dude Perfect videos?
Oh, yeah.
And it takes them, I don't know, who knows how many
thousands?
I mean, I'm not going to judge them. A lot of other people do. People say it takes them 4,000 attempts. But if you throw the ball as far as you can and it lands, then you just put a trash can there. You're like, all right, I'm just going to throw this as hard as I can again. And then it's like science is basically making you hit that.
Great way to do it.
In that particular quarterback carnival that they do, everything is right in my wheelhouse. Like I was built for it. And I told Conte, the Colts PR guy, I had a dislocated kneecap at the time. I was supposed to get surgery. He was like, are you going to play in the Pro Bowl? Because I had like a $250,000 bonus on the Pro Bowl or not. I was like, I made the Pro Bowl. I should get my bonus. And he was like, well, technically in your contract, it says you have to play in the Pro Bowl. I'm like, am I allowed to do that quarterback challenge? They're like, no. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. Jim Irsay still paid me, by the way.
What a guy.
As he should. Good dude.
Yeah, as he should, by the way. No, I don't think he should. Because the contract technically said, like, people say billionaires stay billionaires because they're stingy with their money. He could have not paid me. He chose to pay me. Good guy. That's why I think the Detroit Lions just hated Calvin Johnson.
You do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
One fight at a time, fellas.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Woo! Woo! We got a lot of music to that email. Stuff for the show at patmcafeeshow.com. And the 4 is the actual number 4. And we appreciate all the independent musicians and labels that have sent music in. It helps our show out immensely because we have to play independent music. And to be honest, I know that there is some incredibly talented independent music, like what we just heard right there. And some of these beats.
That's good.
But there is a lot of shit that is terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And we are looking for the incredibly motivated, driven, independent musicians who haven't got an opportunity to maybe showcase their music to a group of humans, not that large. I mean, a few 100,000, 6 million uniques a month on YouTube. But you, everybody like that, we are looking for your music. We'll give you credit, obviously. We will not pay because I took a look at the email this morning, and it is a lot of opportunities in there, a lot of songs.
Oh, yeah.
So, but we do believe what we don't pay you in cash, we will pay in respect, and hopefully introduce more people to your music, because the music industry, which we've been learning from Kanye's Twitter account, is not a friendly or an easy one.
Well, and you should be doing it for the love of the music, not the cash, because otherwise you're not going to get anywhere.
Well, I'm not going to say that because I would not have kicked football for free. I would do this for free, though. We did for a long time, actually. So I think I would. Oh, that's very interesting because now I'm kind of in a pickle because would I have kicked footballs for free? I don't think so.
Yeah, but
because somebody was making money. That's the thing. Is somebody making money off of what I'm doing? Then I'm not happy about it.
Technically, in college, you kick for free.
No, I gotta.
Education.
Yeah, but
when you were a kid,
not really.
You were kicking the ball against the wall for free.
Not really. That was sweat equity, pal.
Oh, I didn't think about the sweat equity.
Yeah, so I think don't ruin a metaphor as old as.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do it.
I didn't know it was that old.
With your stupid
I didn't know.
fucking.
It's compound
Because you've
word.
never had any sweat equity, so that's why you wouldn't know about it.
Ever.
No, that's the good life of being a BFS. I mean, just let me live.
Okay, let's go through a couple of the games here and make our selection, shall we? The Texans travel to Pittsburgh to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everywhere else, the Pittsburgh Steelers are -4 at home against the Texans. The Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line has caused more pressures than anybody else in the NFL right now. They've taken out a quarterback. They are a problem. They have a couple interceptions on that defensive line. I think there is a very solid chance we see Deshaun Watson running for his life. I think Deshaun Watson's very good. I like the way he plays the football. I like David Johnson, who's a good runner, and I think people have been able to pop a couple yards on the Steelers running the ball, aside from Saquon Barkley. But by the way, rest in peace to his ACL.
Peace and peace.
But first game, Ben had more rushing yards than him, so that's really that was not what I was referring to. And everybody be like, "Oh, they got it." But you get what I'm saying.
Tiki's fault.
I like the Steelers a lot at -4. I like them even more at -3.5, which FanDuel is offering. No other place is offering. I like them at +120 instead of -120. They are my lock of the week. Diggs is a diehard Steelers fan. You have to also like this, even though you don't bet on the Steelers games. You have to like the Steelers if you're looking at this from a non-biased view.
Correct. I mean, it's just great value if you're getting plus 120 at -3.5 where you can't get that anywhere else. And I'm hoping that Steelers week 3, they've been sloppy through the first 2 weeks and they haven't played great competition. So maybe this is the week they put it all together.
And I think so. And honestly, Ben Roethlisberger said he's going to be shaking like a leaf in that first game back. He did early. He made a couple. Juju kind of got open there, kind of came into his own here in 2020. James Conner last week ran very well. In the first week, Benny Snell ran very well. So is this the week that the offense decides, okay, we're going to all put it together? I think it feels like the right time, and that's why it's my super boost of the week.
Yeah, and the wide receivers starting to come together. Deontay Johnson's dropped some balls, which he didn't do last year, so hopefully he cleans that up and stuff. So I think we're in a good spot.
And the defense people are talking about as being the best defense in the league, and people that know defenses are like, that Steelers defense is the one. Remember, they traded for Minka last year for a second-round draft pick. That has completely changed the entire first-round draft pick. Completely changed the course of that defense. That defense
1,000%.
became the defense last year, almost led them to a playoff berth with zero offensive anything.
Steel curtain 3.0.
Well said.
Well said.
Double yoy.
Well said by you.
Well said.
Well said.
I appreciate that.
What was the 2.0?
Troy and Ike.
Yeah, true. Hey, good for you, by the way. Well said.
He knows.
That was very impressive.
The other
right
day
there.
in the office, he was wearing around a Pittsburgh hoodie and a Pittsburgh hat, and he had no idea that he actually was wearing those things.
What did you think? You thought it was like Patriots stuff?
No,
with the P?
PGH I thought was like professional golf and then something, and just because PGA.
He thought he was Rick from Monessen parking cars down the mall.
I love Pittsburgh, just like I love Buffalo. I love those cities. They're great cities.
All right, let's get to the Patriots game. The Patriots are playing the Raiders. Everybody's talking about that. The New England Patriots are currently -5.5. And if you listen to anybody that is related to the Patriots defense, in particular the defensive line in recent memory, said that the Patriots cannot stop the damn run. Rob Ninkovich said that if he has to watch one more game where they can't stop the run, he's going to lose his mind. He actually said that he paces in the house while watching the defense play because they can't stop the run. He said he loves what Cam's doing. He actually, I think he kind of like, he almost just kind of, I love what Cam's doing, I love what the offense, but they're not going to be able to do anything if they don't stop the run. Let's assume that if Ninkovich is noticing that, and also Chris Long noticed that same exact thing, Bill Belichick is probably noticing that as well, and they're going to need to this week because this Raiders team, they operate under the fashion that they will be able to run on you. And if you want to come stop the run, cool, we got a tight end who's faster than your team. We'll open it up to him. Derek Carr looked a lot better. This feels like a game that the Raiders will cover, but this feels like a game that the Patriots will ultimately end up winning in the end.
Yeah, I mean, we knew the defense was going to be a problem with everyone opting out and all that, but I mean, you got to give them a little time. We've been talking about how these teams need to figure it out. We got so many young guys on the defensive side of the ball. I think we're going to have 3 rookies, 2 that are in their second year. So, I mean, there's still time to figure it out, but losing David Andrews, how big is it to lose your starting center who's making calls at the line, on a Friday before a game? It's tough.
He's on the field practicing today with a different cast, and sometimes you're able to move the center to guard and have your backup center in there, so you still have a little continuity communication-wise. But I feel like in the offensive line, hands is a big deal. Like, I feel like having hands is a big deal because it's a lot of hand-to-hand combat. So I don't know how fresh that broken thumb is or how much Marcane they'll be able to shoot into his thumb or whatever. All of it. That feels like a rather big deal, especially in an offense that is charging people a lot, with Cam Newton running right up people's backs down the middle there for success. I'll be interested to see that. But just like Chris Long said, Cam Newton has been around chaos his entire career, basically. In comes this guy, out goes this guy, this happens, this happened. Cam Newton is the ultimate equalizer on the offensive side of the ball, unless he's got to get 1 yard on a goal line against Seattle Seahawks. That's tough, man.
Right on the pylon.
Man, I bet so hard on New England Patriots money line. I thought that was a lock whenever he got there because all anybody was saying, including us, was if you need 1 yard, Cam Newton will be able to pick it up. I actually said Carolina Panthers needed him a week before because they needed 1 yard on 4th down or whatever. But this feels like a game. Patriots get win, Raiders get cover. Go ahead and hit a double on that thing.
Ooh, double whammy.
Yeah, go. Because 5.5 is a lot. I think 5.5 is a lot of points. And although it's in New England, which is a home field advantage, right? Because the guys don't have to travel. They don't have all the mass holes screaming at them, which is a different animal. And the weather shouldn't be that bad at this point.
Should be good.
So I think this is a great game. I like John Gruden facing off against Belichick. Obviously, the last time Gruden traveled up there, a dynasty started. Tuck rule game happened. Adam Vinatieri's legacy began just as much as Tom Brady and the Patriots did. I mean, that is a big omen. That's going to be a great game. They're going to battle. I like the way John Gruden puts a game plan together. I don't think he gets enough credit for that because of his personality. Could potentially camouflage that a little bit. But I do believe ultimately this is a Patriot win, Raiders cover. Okay. So I think I'm leaning there. That's not a massive bet. But I like the Raiders plus 5.5, and I like New England money line.
So what you're saying is Sunday will be the birth of another dynasty in New England, is what you're saying?
No dynasty has ended, right? It hasn't ended, has it?
Well, everyone's been saying what was the dynasty. There was a book, The Dynasty, it's all over. So I figured this was a new generation.
A potential author was trying to maybe, stick his hand into the cookie jar a little bit, too.
Maybe cash in.
Ask Bill Belichick if that dynasty's over yet. Ask Josh McDaniels, who's been a massive part of that, if it's over yet. How about that old ass up there, Ernie? Ask him if that dynasty's over yet. New pieces, same game in New England. New day, no. New toilet, same shit, bub. Yeah, and I think they are assuming that the Patriots dynasty is still something that we're going. This is a franchise, not just one player. What do you got there?
It seems like the sharps may agree with you with the lean here on the Raiders because it's only 40% of the bets are coming in on the Raiders, but 65% of the money is coming in on the Raiders. So there's big money on the Raiders.
So I'm starting to wonder.
Are they just listening?
Did that just update just now? Thought so. Tampa Bay Buccaneers head over to Denver. Denver has new quarterback Jeff Driscoll with backup Blake Bortles. Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week get a big win. Obviously, they looked a lot better than they did in the first week, which everybody kind of expected. It's going to take some time to kind of come together. Bruce Arians said about Gronk, like, hey, our tight ends don't make 50 catches a game, and we haven't been in the red zone that much. Maybe that'll come. Gronk came out and said, I'm a blocking tight end. The game plan's a game plan. They could change week to week. I think they will obviously get him involved a little bit more because it has become a massive story and they don't want any potential drama to happen, or they just completely block it out and say, last week we won. You know why? We fed Shady early. Then we got Leonard Fournette going. We got Rojo going. Mike Evans and Tom Brady are starting to buy in together. I think that team is starting to come together. I think the Broncos are starting to go the opposite direction due to injuries, which is a shame. Jeff Driscoll looked a lot better than I thought he was going to look whenever he got in the game. I like Tampa Bay minus 5.5 here in Denver, but Tom Brady has had mixed reviews in Denver, right? I mean, there's big wins. There's some big losses out there. Will the altitude change the TB12 treatment? That is something maybe we have to account for. I like Tampa Bay minus 5.5, even though I love the Broncos organization. I like their fans. I just don't know. I think this is two teams on two different directions right now.
In this game, the 20% of the bets are on the Broncos, but 97% of the money's on the Broncos, so there's something potentially going on there.
Oh, no.
Is Brock the Rock?
But I mean,
that makes you feel even better. No, it doesn't. Because 2097, that means all the big money people they're trying to move the line.
They might be.
They're trying to move the line.
They're probably trying to get it
to 4, 3.5,
Smart.
something like that. Okay. Yeah,
then we middle it.
If you help me with that, maybe we wait off until Sunday to see what that Tampa Bay line is. But I like Tampa going over to Denver. Cowboys ride over to Seattle, says Zito in the sidebar. I like Seattle -5 here. I'm not hammering it, but I like it. The Dallas Cowboys could have, whenever you're shooting and you're kind of cold, and then somebody makes one, it kind of takes the top off the lid there.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of takes the top off the bucket. Did that happen at the end of the game last week? Whenever they kicked an onside kick and won a game they weren't supposed to win, the Mike McCarthy era, they win a game that they're not supposed to win. Is that going to be the difference between this era and the last era of the Cowboys? Winning games you're supposed to win, or not supposed to win, as opposed to losing games you're supposed to win. That'll be very, very interesting to me. Seattle Seahawks are just so fucking good at football, and Russell Wilson's unbelievable. And the Cowboys are injured, I think, in the back end, which is where Russell Wilson dominates at. I'm surprised it's -5. I don't know what it will move to. I like the Seahawks -5.
Yeah, if Foxy wasn't playing free safety for him, I mean, it might be a good bet to take him +5. The Seahawks are going to blow him out.
And speaking of Foxy, the Lions travel to the desert with a team with no wins, and they are taking on the Arizona Cardinals, who are one of the hottest teams in football right now. Kyler Murray is one of the most comfortable quarterbacks at his position right now, not stressing or sweating anything, making people look silly, a la what Lamar Jackson was doing all last year and is continuing to do this season. We'll talk about Chiefs-Ravens on Monday on the other side. Can't wait for that matchup. I think everybody and their mom here likes the Arizona Cardinals -5.5. I would assume the money is leaning that way, and the bets are leaning that way.
Yeah, almost 80% of the bets and 90% of the money.
So that is just an entire sweep of the smart people and the dumb people that gamble, saying this one is pretty obvious. Last year, these two teams tied. These two teams have gone very different directions since then.
Yeah, we're not surprised here, guys. The Lions are the Lions this year. If Matt Patricia doesn't win this game and doesn't beat the Saints the week after, I do believe during that bye week he will be gone.
No!
I love Matt Patricia. I love him. But I've seen tweets from Detroit people. They are not happy.
All right. And the Packers are traveling down to an empty Superdome, which is a little bit different because New Orleans' home field advantage is a big, big deal. What's up, Dick?
725 people they're going to try to get in there this week.
Okay, and they will be loud because 725 Cajuns down there in the bayou, if they got that Whistler, it could be a real problem. That is a loud house. I don't know, 725 people, it might sound like just spattering of doctors on a sideline. The Green Bay Packers +3. Going down to New Orleans -3. After a week of everybody wondering if Drew Brees was dead or not, does Drew Brees still be able to throw the football? How will they respond? Michael Thomas still out, I do believe. I don't know if there's been an official ruling, but Ian Rappaport told us that he thinks he'll be out for another couple weeks at least. 2 to 4. This will be the 2 of the 2 to 4 for him. Green Bay Packers +3, playing better football than they've ever played. I think you take Green Bay Packers +3 and money line here down in New Orleans, and I think you feel very, very good about it. Now, the only issue is the Green Bay Packers defense going to be able to stop Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara and that offense? Because the Green Bay Packers defense has not been, let's say, tip-top if we're just judging games from the last 3 games that they've played. NFC Championship first week, second week, they've not been like, hey, we are going to stop everything from happening. But Aaron Rodgers and that offense have been able to make up forever, and they've been able to stop enough to get a win. I just feel like the Packers get this win. This is upset of the week for me. +138, Green Bay Packers get the money line victory.
Yeah, it's tough not liking both those, but like you said, I am kind of worried that everyone's been shitting on Breeze all week and saying that he sucks and he's done. So, this would be the classic game where he would respond. But Zadarius Smith did circle the Saints week 3, so I think he is licking his chops to be able to take Breeze's head off. Really looking forward to that. I mean, their offense has been great. It'll be interesting because LaFleur did say today that Devontae Adams probably isn't going to play, so we'll see what happens there. But, I mean, Raji's,
he's in a great headspace.
He's on fire.
Raji.
He's playing great football. Yeah. I mean, I don't love that all the tabloids took his quotes out of context and automatically assumed.
Well, what are you going to do? I mean, that's what they do.
But that's what Aaron Rodgers, his entire career, that is what happened. Everything he says gets taken however the hell they want it, and they just run with it. Instead of saying, you know what, maybe Aaron Rodgers decided to worry about Aaron Rodgers for the first time and kind of take care of everything. And the Packers hired a psychologist to come onto the team, and maybe that's what, maybe he's just happy to be in his headspace. All the tabloids are like, no, that's not it. This is what he just said. It's like, hey, first of all, thanks for the push, we appreciate the push and quoting the show and everything like that. But can we maybe just ask the guy what he meant instead of just automatically assuming something?
Well, and that's the Rodgers effect, and that's why I for one appreciate you having him on and people seeing the real side of him. Because I mean, it's just like the Breeze thing. If the Packers start 1-1 or 0-2 and Rodgers looked like Breeze did, then everyone would have ripped him apart. But, because it's Breeze, it's, let's give Drew a break. He's okay. He's the best ever. Like, that shit would never happen to Rodgers. So, I appreciate you having him on and letting people see, like, oh, this guy isn't just like a huge asshole like everyone thinks.
Jesus.
Wow.
It's real.
It is real. No one's talking about, let's give Drew a break, Hey, Drew's okay. He's still the best ever. Fuck Drew Brees.
Oh, my God. What is that hate in your heart on this Feel Good Friday as we wrap up hour 3 here?
I've been holding that in all week. I've wanted to ask Rodgers that because it is true. If the Packers would have started out like the Saints would, then people would be reacting much differently towards Rodgers than they have been towards Brees.
Is this because he elbowed you?
Well, yeah. And that's a huge part of it.
For those that don't know, last Super Bowl, Drew Brees joined us. Was very nice. He brought a smoothie. Brought me a smoothie.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
Didn't bring everybody else.
No, he didn't. No.
And
Aaron Donald brought everyone pizza.
On his way to say hello to Cuban Zeke, because Cuban Zeke was a crowd pleaser down there, and he was on a different stage than us. He did take his elbow and he put it in the back of Ty's head to balance himself to shake Zeke's hand, and then never said hello to Ty and just walked.
No, yeah, gave me a Charlie horse in between my shoulder blades, and I was laughing at all his canned jokes.
Stop. No. I don't even think Drew Brees knew that happened. And Drew came on the show, so I like Drew.
Well, he probably doesn't.
You did have a run-in with him.
Yeah, I did.
He can't even feel that arm anymore.
Let's go to Joe in Illinois. Joe, what's going on, bub?
Happy Feel Good Friday, boys.
Well, is it? I mean, just got sawed down by Mustache Ty here, but I hope you can bring us back here as we wrap up hour 3 here on Mad Dog Sports.
Well, on this Feel Good Friday, Pat, I want to know what's the best you've ever felt when you were punting, and then what was your favorite?
All right, let's go to Camden in Texas. What's going on, Camden?
What's going on, Pat? Happy Feel Good Friday. Listen, not to back up our friend of the show, Taylor Lewan, but how does Ryan Gosling go from being a 5-time player of the week to a complete stooge with 2 left feet? I mean, come on. He couldn't even cover it. what is up with that?
Yeah,
that's a great question. That is a very good question. And he also was racist, right? Wasn't?
No, Gosling was not.
No, his father, however, did have some undertones.
Well, who was the kid? Who was the other guy?
Ray was the guy
in the car.
Yeah. Ray was a bad guy.
I'm sorry, Gosling. I put that in there. I mean, we're talking about teenagers. Okay, easy come, easy go. 1 week they're great, 1 week they're not. I mean, that's just how it is. Gosling was one of those guys who was able to ride the wave of success, a little bit of a front runner, and then whenever he got down, guy just couldn't figure out how to fucking cover anybody.
Petey was just a better corner.
It's triple A ball.
You mentioned it. Look at his dad's physical profile.
Let's go to Spencer in Montana. Spencer, last call of the week. Can't wait.
All right. I've heard all this talk about Trevor Lawrence, and I've seen the Broncos on that list. If they fell into that pick somehow, are they picking Trevor Lawrence, or are they going to trade that pick for like 1 million other picks?
Great question, Spencer, because Drew Lock is their young gunner. Yeah. He has got hurt. Last year, they said he showed everything that he could possibly have to show to become the guy for them. John Elway said, hey, we're building around this guy. We believe in that guy. He's now hurt. Von Miller's now hurt. They just signed Blake Bortles. If they were to somehow, I'm not saying they will, but if they were to spiral downward this season and end up with the number 1 overall pick, do you take Trevor Lawrence, the once-in-a-generation type quarterback that has been groomed to be the franchise guy since probably high school, if I had to guess? A guy who has shown that he's a leader, a guy who has performed in big situations, a guy who's tall, athletic, fast, can throw the ball, and has been there, done that with basically everything. I do believe John Elway potentially says bye to Drew Lock in that particular case and give me Trevor Lawrence. But if you can get 3 first-rounders, what the Rams did with RG3 trade or something like that, that would also be quite tempting as well. I'm not 100% sure what John does. What are you thinking, Nick?
No way. Elway doesn't want anyone better than him in there.
Okay. See?
That is the thought.
That is what everybody thinks. That's why he continues to do what he continues to do. He's played Brock Osweiler 3 times now at this point. I think he's paid him. I mean, it is very, very interesting. But he brought in Peyton. But it's Peyton, I guess. Yeah. So it's like, but that's Peyton. Plus. So unless it's an alpha goat already, you don't think John Elway's going to give it a go? That's very interesting to think. I don't know what the hell they'll do. Great question, Spencer in Montana.
Are they both locks, Lawrence and Fields, to be superstars?
Yeah, I think so. I think Lawrence is. But granted, I don't know if we have the Ryan Leaf situation here, but I think Justin Fields, yes. And if you talk to anybody that is in the Elite 11 world and the quarterback scouting world, they're like, Justin Fields is the guy. Like, everybody loves Trevor Lawrence, which, okay, because he's big, tall, and everything like that. Justin Fields also the guy. I think he had like 75 touchdowns and 1 interception or something like that. Yeah. But college defenses stink. Speaking of, Pac-12's back. Hey! Wait, what? All right, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Big thanks to our guests, Chris Long, Kyle Van Noy, Ariel Helwani, and Taylor Lewan, and all the rest of the guests this week. We can't thank them enough. We can't thank you enough for listening and watching wherever the hell you may be. We know a lot of things can penetrate your ears. The fact that you let us do it, we are forever thankful. Chris Mad Dog Russo and Brent Musburger on at 5 o'clock. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, September 25th. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate you. You did a good job, too, Bob.
Great job, Bob.
Great job.
Great job, Bob.
Little baby Bob.
All right, let's knock out these phone calls that are currently sitting on hold, and let's get the fuck out of here. I think Mitt just hung up on a couple of them. Let's go to Mitt, is there 2 Erics in New Jersey, or is Eric from New Jersey just on line 1 and line 2? There's only 1. Okay, so we'll go to line 2, Eric in New Jersey. What's going on, Eric in New Jersey?
Line 1.
Pat, what's up?
Hey,
just wanted to give you a shout out for on this Feel Good Friday for giving my dog some internet fame on Wednesday on your Instagram story. That was pretty awesome, so I appreciate that.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for your dog being awesome.
Good dog.
Thank you. Thanks for the compliment there. My thoughts on the Packers and New Orleans game. Is that game going to be a shootout? And should I go and hammer my bet from last week for the Packers being the highest scoring team on Sunday again?
Great question, Eric. Further Brand, big shout out to your dog representing. Further Brand, by the way, a foundation my lady has started to take care of foster animals, I believe foster dogs and parents and everything like that. Started it before our rescued Shar-Pei pit bull got cancer. And then felt a real initiative to continue it directly after we had to pay for surgery to get a cancer tumor off of our dog's head and everything like that. It's very thankful for my lady run. It's something that's very, very cool. And shout out to Eric in New Jersey for taking up not only line 1 and line 2, but being a supporter of that. We appreciate that.
Eric.
It doesn't seem like the Green Bay Packers are going to slow down. That offense doesn't fit. Now, Devontae Adams is out, which is a massive piece of it. But I think, no offense to Devontae Adams, and I would assume that he won't take any for this. This is kind of what Aaron Rodgers does. Aaron Rodgers is good with people that Devontae is a stud, but Aaron Rodgers can make people you've never heard of look great. And I think that'll continue this weekend just because of the headspace that Aaron Rodgers is currently in. Now, this Saints defense is good. Like, they have some real playmakers, and maybe that will be a problem. But it doesn't feel to me that there's any panic in Aaron in any situation. He feels better than ever. No picks, 6 tugs already. It feels like this is a weekend where maybe both teams will score a bunch and the over is the right go. But I like the Packers getting a win down there, plus the points as well.
As of right now, too, Aaron Jones is they have the best rushing attack in the NFL, so I'm sure that doesn't, that certainly doesn't hurt.
Well, and Jamal Williams, who Aaron
nice
has been singing the praises of. So maybe they get ground and pound, kind of like Ryan Fitzpatrick did in the second half last night. Maybe they try to take the ball out of Drew Brees' hands because the defense maybe can't keep up. I think that would be the only thing that would really slow down the overhitting, but I think it's going to be a great game, and I think the Packers win that thing ultimately.
Yeah, I was going to say, because he was asking if the Packers are going to score the most points in the NFL this week. The team that the Packers played last week, the Cardinals, or they played the Lions, the Cardinals are playing the Lions, that might be the highest scoring, probably.
2 weeks in a row.
I'd slam the over there. Galladay's back, baby.
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row. Hey, Galladay is
Also
back.
Seattle.
All right, let's not sleep on that fact. The Lions might come out and win. I might be taking that Lions money line.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Foxy. Yeah,
Foxy.
They win this week and next week. We're 2-2 going into the bye week. We're right back into this thing. We're only 4 losses away from going 10-6 and winning a playoff game.
Anytime you get a bye week this early in the season, that means the NFL thinks you are going to get hot late. That is why they give.
What they say.
Yeah, they give these really.
Yeah.
I mean, the Detroit Lions fans don't deserve this.
Nah.
They don't.
Okay, they don't deserve this. We have a lot of Detroit Lions fans of this show.
Good people.
And good people. I love Matty Patricia. I like Danny Amendola.
Yep.
I'm a big Matty Stafford guy. I like what they got going on, but for whatever reason, because they chose not to pay Calvin Johnson years ago, they are a cursed franchise.
Cursed. Yeah.
Also, Seattle is playing Dallas, and Seattle has scored 38 and 35, and Dallas gave up 39 last week to the Falcons. So
Jeez.
Seattle might be in on that play too.
Okay, well,
50
hey,
burger.
let's make money this weekend. Remember, Pound the Super Boost. Pound it. Which is the Pittsburgh Steelers -3.5. Everywhere else it's -4. And it's not -120, it's +120. Into this Super Boost, we start a path that is just absolutely catastrophic for the FanDuel Sportsbook bank account.
Hell yeah!
Burn it down. Oh, yeah. Hammer Down will be on here in about 10 minutes where all we do is just 7-4, 7-4, 7-4. You follow our picture. We'll make more and more and more. That's what this office has been doing. We've been on a heater thus far. I think it will continue. In the Super Boost, we'll catch up to everything else I've been doing, getting hot this week as well. Last night, we went against everybody and bet on the Miami Dolphins because we felt like it was Fitzmagic. Every one of these bets we just said, we feel the exact same fucking way. Let's have a weekend. Have a great weekend, actually. College football mañana. NFL Sunday on Sunday. We'll see you on Monday. Chiefs Ravens on Monday night. Is this the greatest feel-good Friday in some time? Sure feels like it. Have a great weekend. This has been the Pat McAfee Show with all the boys. Friday, September 25th. Cheers and thank you to our McAfee Mafia members. We appreciate you muy mucho. More than you could ever fathom. That's why we have special deals over there. Whenever we see your green thing pop up on the comment section, we appreciate the hell out of that. The emotes are awesome. And the exclusive content, as in the full video version of the pod, is now available over there. More watch-alongs, exclusive watch-alongs will be over there. Exclusive content will be there. Go ahead and join, become a member. And I think we're making like a, no, I'm not saying it. I don't want to commit to it. If I say it, I have to commit to it.
That's right. Tell us.
I think we're doing like a newsletter thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But this is one that I could very much fall out of love with very soon.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah. Potential. Only for McAfee Mafia members. Anyways, we appreciate you all. Have a good one. Hammer Down is in about 10 minutes. Not a bad week for everybody. Cheers.
Hey, come on.
Lombardi. I heard that earlier in the show you said you're leaning Miami. That makes me feel very, very good because our entire office is leaning Miami, and I thought that was a scary situation.
Yeah, no, I like Miami tonight. I think Miami's played two good teams. I mean, Buffalo and New England are good teams. And they played Buffalo down to the wire. I think they got tired at the end of the game. I think the weather hurt them, especially on defense, as much as anything. And then the New England game, I mean, they turned the ball over in that game. I have faith in Brian Flores. I think this is a tough team. They'll keep playing. I think Fitzpatrick, when he plays against a team that he knows the coverage, I think he'll be pretty good.